Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. I was up on time. That doesn't mean the show's going to start on time. Sorry about that. Interesting. Sorry, I pulled up one of the sites for some stuff we can discuss. Stream of thought style, and the headline caught my eye. It was a picture of the Model X in the new color, with the doors open, looking at a mountain. But the headline was Turo's solution to ultra-high car prices. Rent one for a year. So we'll definitely discuss that. Let me open that up. And let me get the window over here so that we are looking in the same general direction instead of like off to the side or whatever. That's better. I've got them in the wrong order. I need them over here. And this over here, because what I want to do is be able to see when you guys chat. On one window. Though, let's open up the chat. There we go. So, yesterday, in the I don't know what I would call it, the Maker Studio, the lab. I made a little something. It's not done yet, because I gotta get a USB cable and an LED strip. There we go. I don't know why it's this is just like the logo up in the corner, but this is yellow actually. I don't know why it's been made clear, because it's not at all green. Not even close to green. Is the angle? No, it's still keying it out. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is take off the back of it. I made this nice little matching base, some contours, and sit perfectly flat. Not that my logo doesn't already sit perfectly flat, but it was an option to try, so I tried it. So, in the back, I put keyholes so that you can slot and hang it on something. And I'll put white on the inside. And that was weird. It lit up the trim on the camera. It didn't realize it was chromed, black chrome, and it looked like something changed. So I put white as a reflector. And then on the inside, I put white as a diffuser. So that way, no matter what I used, it would be a... It's getting clear from the other side too. The filament I used is very yellow. I don't know how it came out to be green, but it's yellow in person, even though the camera thinks it's green. But anyway, I put white, just a thin layer, one layer of white, maybe 2 layers of white on the inside as a diffuser, just in case I used a LED strip or any other source where you could, spotlight, see what it is. I wanted it more diffused. I need to check our audio on the video side. Stand by. You might get a second of echo while I check it. It's still spinning. That's not good. It might just be me. It says I've been on for 4 minutes. I'm going to hit refresh. Let's see what happens. There's this excellent connection. If I didn't have video, it would say that, I would hope. Still kind of spinning. Oh, there we go. And now it's up. Oh, the audio sounds terrible. All right, let's go over here. We'll turn off isolation. And then we'll turn this mic. and then we'll wait a minute. I'll hold up my hand, and then when I see my hand, I will unmute, and we can check and see if that water fountain effect is gone because it's super annoying. Well, it looks like I've frozen on the other side. Oh yeah, much better, much better. I didn't see my hand, but I figured it'd been enough time on the delay. All right, so next, I'm gonna grab a device that's got an LED on it. Hit flashlight. There we go. Well, that's kind of a cool graphic. And it still shows up as green. It's not as cool of an effect that way. Um, is it clear and green? Interesting. But anyway, maybe if I turn off my studio lights, it still shows up as green. But now you can see the effect. Anyway, I thought that was a fun little project. Took a few minutes to create it, and then a few hours for the machines to bring it into existence. So I put on the base. Well, the whole thing is 3D printed, but on the base is 3D printed base, and I used fuzzy skin, so it doesn't have that layer lines 3D printed look to it. But I put a hole because I didn't know what size uh, power supply I'd be using. And I put a trench because I didn't know if I could just put my light in there. Also, it saves a lot of plastic. And then turn off this flashlight real quick. And then we'll see what becomes of it. But it was a fun little project. Okay, put that away. Maybe one day I'll hang it back there if I can get the camera to stop erasing half of the art, half of the art there. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and where was I? So I've opened the Turo thing, I think. Yes, I did. And let's go to share screen. There. A window. And that one. Yep, that's the right one. Okay, then we need to adjust our view. I need to go ahead and use some more of the features of this interface. I think I can move a lot more of it into there, but I just haven't had the time to sit down and learn something new. All right, GM will remove Apple CarPlay and Android Auto from all its cars, and not just EVs. That's the difference. Okay, but my dad was talking about them doing that by 28, and I was like, but they already did it on everything but the right drop. But all of their cars. That's interesting now. The Aria is dead. At least behind a big EV lesson. The Aria isn't dead though. It's gone from the US. The Rivian Bike Revolution wasn't all that interesting to me, other than it was Rivian until I see this what looks like a cargo bike and probably also another cargo bike. It's kind of small on my screen. It's a video though, so I might not do much with it. Florida woman switches to a Tesla, then she notices something unique about her other drivers. I'm curious what that might be. That's probably one of their TikTok stories. I don't know what that key is. Is it an icon or is it like you got to pay them to use it? Austin woman says she is regularly cut off, or she regularly cuts off Waymos. It's not just her; they are making us worse drivers. Question mark. That's another good reason not to look like a science project, because if it's harder to single you out, it's harder to impede your travel. Like if they think they're bullying a computer versus bullying a human, they might behave differently. Especially in Texas, where you do that to a human and you might catch some lead. Let's see. San Francisco woman gets into a Waymo, then she uses it for DoorDash. That's interesting, and it's a good way around having to pay your own car maintenance. I'm curious how the costs are and what she does. I hope it's not a TikTok story. I'd like to read more about it. It's more expensive in San Francisco. A woman gets into a Waymo, then she sees what it costs compared to a regular Uber. That's interesting, and I wonder if it's a reaction to the way people have been abusing the robots in San Francisco, LA, those types of things. As we've seen, like putting traffic cones on them, torching them, etc., etc. This retro truck is the electric Defender you really want? Maybe. The EV brand with the slowest battery degradation isn't Tesla. Okay, that's. I mean, I had no idea who it would be. I did not expect it would be Tesla. They make so many of them. Let's see. I saw a 2027 Bolt in person. It looks fantastic, and it's still small. Whoa, 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 what was that? It acted like I did a middle click and drag, and I did not do a middle click and then drag the mouse. I did a middle click, and then later I dragged the mouse. Right, so did we get the Bolt article? Yeah, because we were talking about Tesla degradation. So no, we did not get the Bolt. All right, and then we've got the Lucid Air Sapphire 70-mile-per-hour range test. Here's the downside to all that power. Well, the faster you go, the quicker you'll drain your battery. Goshen's colossal battery factory in Michigan is dead. Well, that's not good. We need more local battery manufacturer. Lightness, not power, makes Audi's electric sports car special. Is it an electric Miata? Because none of that really clicks the way they wrote it. And then you look at the picture. Because like a Miata style, yeah, you don't need it to be the fastest. But if you're making a Halo electric, you want it to be fast. It actually, the startup wants to put your entire EV motor in the wheel. Oh, axles. What's new about that? We've had. Good evening, Enders. Good evening. Good to see you. Where's my button here? I was not ready yet. Okay. Well, when it is ready, I'll put you on screen. There you are. Perfect. And I'm not sure what's new about the whole e-axle thing. We've been working on it for a minute. California salesman says no one wants a Cybertruck anymore, so it's the perfect time to get a deal. It's always been a good time to get a deal after the Foundation series stopped. California man drives long distances and asks, should you get Tesla Model 3 performance or long range? Well, I mean, practically, you should get the long range. It's going to have more range. You're going to spend less money. And if you never go to the track or drive spiritedly, Not that you can't drive spiritedly in the long range, but to the point where having a performance model matters, yeah, then I would recommend he get the long range. Woman orders a self-driving Waymo in Los Angeles. Viewers believe it broke the law with her in the car. I forgot to bring up, or I did bring it up, but I don't know that he got asked and discussed uh, what happens about people breaking like the alcohol container laws in a robotaxi. We got onto that for a moment last week, and I'm curious what you guys think about that. Oh, screen turned off on the Extreme. Let's turn the screen back on, make sure it's still healthy. As it is. There we go. Oops, oops, oops. I was not expecting this to work. A man drives to a graveyard, and then his Tesla Roadster starts detecting spirits. Why are you not expecting that to work? It sees stuff everywhere. That's definitely got to be a TikTok article. They said get a Tesla. A Florida woman gets a Tesla, then she tries to charge it. How bad is this? It sounds like a case of not doing any basic research. This literally happened to me last year. 3 girls take a Waymo at night, then they all get kicked out. Interesting. There was one that I didn't read, but I had just like I was clicking through my articles and it just got there. It was a young man who said that he ordered a Waymo and it changed the pickup spot 4 times in a row, and that was as far as I got in the not quite the headline, but not into the article either. It sounded interesting, but I'm curious what his point was about. Not that getting your pickup changed 4 times is annoying, but the way it was phrased and presented made it seem like Waymo was charging him for pickup changes. And if the car is doing it, then I don't think it should be charging you for that. And one nearby should be free. Let's see, like you say pick me up at my house, and you open the door, and there's a parade. Pick me up around the block from my house. 10 best-selling EVs. Solution to supercharging EV adoption is hiding in plain sight. I'm curious what that's about. GM Hummer EV once had Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now no more. Yeah, we talked about that. F-150 Lightning production put on the back burner, as is the Bright Drop. Different companies, but same reason. Tesla recalls 13,000 EVs built this year because they may lose power. So let's go ahead and start our recall segment. This one is about a problem with the contactors, and they may release even while the car is underway and under power. So this is a bring it in recall because it's physical. It's not something they can fix with software. Model Ys and maybe some Model 3s. We'll click into it in just a second. Tesla says autopilot is getting better, but it's crashing more. It shouldn't be crashing at all because you're supposed to be watching it. And I don't even know if that regular autopilot has the hands-free mode that FSD supervised does on appropriate cars. No more fuses. How GM's architecture will transform gas cars. Well, didn't Tesla get rid of most of their fuses already? The self-resetting circuit breakers. Let's go into the recall, and then we'll go from there. Because they may lose power. 12,963 cars built and sold in the U.S. This year because they may lose power while driving, according to official documents. Let me make this bigger. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a little something coming on that too that may or may not help. We'll see. I ordered back in 2023. I ordered a set of VR glasses. Basically, they would give a screen right in front of me, and then they got all wobbly on me, and so I switched it to something else, and the something else should be here soon. And to me, it looks like a pair of sunglasses. Perhaps I can use it instead of the iPad here as a like a teleprompter or whatever. We'll see if it looks like sunglasses or if it looks like a MetaQuest or Apple Vision Pro. If it looks like I'm wearing ski goggles, that's not going to work. But if it looks like sunglasses, even better. The people I saw reviewing it, you could still see their eyes. So if it just looks like my glasses but darker, that may solve the text being too small for me to be in focus range problem. We'll see. We shall see. So anyway, according to official documents submitted to the NHTSA, the affected vehicles have been fitted with high voltage battery contactors that may have a faulty solenoid. Okay, so the solenoid is the actuator there that connects them after after they get their power, and then they move the plungers and they make the connection. So if the solenoid fails to stay extended, then it will disconnect the battery, even if you're driving. Then there's the other type where it fails to disconnect it, which is also a safety problem, but that does not sound like what they're discussing here. And they're generally a spring that can overpower them when they lose power. So them failing open them failing deployed is much more rare than them failing to stay deployed and then the spring pushing them back. The problem solenoid may force the contactor to suddenly open due to a poor coil termination connection, which stops the flow of electricity from the main battery to the electric motors. Or motors. I guess it depends on which contactor fails. If it's the main contactor, yeah, both motors, all three motors, depending on what you got. Well, you won't have three on Model 3 and Y. So the 2026 Model Y made up the majority of the affected vehicles, with 7,925 cars built between March and August. Wow. The remaining 5,038 cars are all 2025 Model 3s built between March 8th and August 12th. All right, so they hit different production lines at different times, but roughly the same time. Like it appears it was just a regular restock. And it's also looking like it was just a case of it's supposed to be just a commodity item, and it wasn't. So otherwise, it would be a lot more cars if it was all of their contactors. So it's just one supplier, it seems, or one line, or either way, it wasn't working. They caught it, did the right thing. Per the NHTSA documents, the affected EVs don't issue a warning before losing power. That's not good. But the car's main screen will instruct the driver to stop safely after the issue has occurred. Of course it will, because you're driving along, it didn't tell the battery to turn off, but the battery is turned off or partially turned off, and it says, "Whoa, you pull over safely," and that's what that's going to be. The faulty solenoid was manufactured by Mexico's Systems Mechatronics. I'm guessing that's a corporation mark, just like GmbH is in Germany. And it was embedded into the contactors made by Taiwan's Songchuan. To fix the issue, Tesla will replace the contactors in all the affected vehicles for free. That's the definition of a recall, with certified contactors that don't contain an INTICA solenoid and maintain coil termination connection. So, yeah, it's just a matter of this was supposed to be a commodity part. It was, but this particular commodity supplier wasn't up to snuff. I'm sure they got charged back, and we'll see if they stay on the list or not. The repair, which should take roughly 1 hour to perform, can be scheduled using the Tesla smartphone app, blah, blah, blah. So the reason it sounds like this one should be easy is it should be in the top of the penthouse, and it may even be an easily repaired part, just like the fuses, where Tesla expects them to go bad from time to time. So you don't have to do a whole lot, but remove the back seat, remove the safety covers, put your gloves on, and then go in there and get to work. Obviously, I skipped some steps in there because you don't want to just be working on the high voltage without turning off the battery, but you get the drift. Next, we've got 46,000 Tesla Cybertrucks recalled for flying trim pieces. Yeah, we talked about that already. Unless it's new. 40,000 Leafs could catch fire and there's no fix yet. I have a feeling this is a case of one of these sites that's going through and finding related stories, but they are really old. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, this is a bit many recalls in one day, so I don't think that's what's going on. Let's close the window we're in. I don't think there's any comments. Nope. Oh, it scrolled on us. All right, so 40,000 Leafs. When? I need a date on the story. 2021, 2022 Leafs. Be recalled for battery fire risk. Includes 1977 U.S. market vehicles. Total 43,000 second generation Leafs have potentially dangerous high voltage batteries. Oh, this is new. October 6th. Unless it's new for another year. We'll look at it anyway, because that's what our recall segment's all about, isn't it? Nearly 43,000 second-gen Leafs sold in the U.S. are at risk of catching fire when using a DC fast charger due to an issue with the high-voltage batteries. On top of that, no fixes available yet, and the owners are being advised not to frequent fast-charging stations in the meantime. This sounds like deja vu. Two separate recalls have been issued covering the model years 2019 through 2022 with the latest document. This will tell us the timeline for sure, but it didn't say a year. Okay, so this is last year. I thought it felt like deja vu. I never did hear about a fix, though. I mean, not the recall, but like a fix. This document should be updated. Reimbursement plan, none. Oh, this is new. October 3rd. Plan dealer notification date. So this is the second recall in a row on our recall segments where they haven't decided what they're going to do about it. Planned interim owner notification date, October 24th. So you should have been getting a letter right about yesterday, tomorrow in the mail. Planned remedy notification date. They don't have one. Date when the VIN will be searchable is already there. I don't like it when they get the mail to you before they actually tell you there's a problem. It's kind of skeevy to me. Like from October 4th, we should have been notified of all this. I get the letters taking time to get done. That's a separate issue. But it took to the 7th for Inside EVs to even get a hold of it. All right, so component name is the main battery assembly. 62 kilowatt hours, 40 kilowatt hours, 62 kilowatt hours, 62 kilowatt hours, and 40 kilowatt hours with these part numbers. Good gracious. There's their address. Nissan has determined that the lithium-ion battery in affected vehicles may experience excessive lithium deposits within the battery cells, increasing the electrical resistance and potentially causing a fluctuation in the state of charge. FMVS test 1 has not been violated, nor 2. Description of the safety risk, including crash, fire, death, or injury. Well, fire for one, if this is lithium dendrites. because what will happen is they puncture the membrane inside the cells, and now you've got a short between positive and negative, and lithium has a lot of energy and a lot of power, so it's got a high amp short, and whoosh. So they don't have a solution, but do they have a mitigation? While the vehicle is level 3 quick charging, the increased electrical resistance could result in rapid heating of the battery. If quick charging continues, a battery fire may occur, increasing the risk of injury. So I have a feeling the remedy is going to be don't fast charge your Leaf. Description of the cause, they don't know yet, otherwise they'd have a fix, right? Identification and any warning that can occur. There is no preceding warning to the customer. None whatsoever? That's scary. I think that they should be able to detect the fluctuations and the rise in the battery temperature. However, if it happens so quickly, because it's truly a short, they might not be able to do anything about it and warn you in time. Do Nissan or anything else? Did Nissan do anything about that air-cooled battery nonsense? Eddie, they actually finally did. So the Nissan Ariya has a liquid-cooled battery, and now that the Ariya is gone from the U.S., the new Nissan Leaf, that is the first true remake of the car, rather than like a reskinning, is it's got a liquid-cooled battery, and it still has 2 charge ports. You got J1772 on the driver's side, and the NACS port on the passenger side. But the NACS port can only be used for supercharging because Nissan. Good to see you again. It's been a minute. We need to chat. Let's see what else they have about this thing. I'm reading this recall notice backwards because I was trying to get a date on it. Light vehicles, descriptive information, certain 21 and 22 Leafs equipped with the quick charge port. Oh, that's right. You can get it without the quick charge port, even if you. Yeah. Oof. For level 3 charging via CHAdeMO. Manufactured between November 3rd, 2020 and May 23rd, 2022 at the Smyrna plant. Only the Tennessee plant again. You guys, man, you can't catch a break. Certain model year 2019 to 2020 model Nissan Leaf vehicles. Okay, so it's more. Oh wow, it's basically the whole second gen. 2019 to 2022. 19 to 20 Leaf vehicles equipped with the quick charge port for level 3 charging via CHAdeMO, and manufactured between August 29th, 2018 and November 3rd, 2020 at the Smyrna plant are already subject to recall for 24V-700. And that one, I wonder if it's also related to the LG cells. But that one sounds familiar because 24 would be the year 2024. Vehicle population was determined based on Nissan production records. There's no evidence of Nissan or Infiniti vehicles affected yet. So yeah, do what they say. Certain model year 2021, 2022 Leafs equipped with the quick charge port. Okay, that's a rehash of what they just said above. The vehicle population, that's a rehash as well. Defect non-compliance description. Nissan has determined that the lithium battery in affected vehicles may experience excess lithium deposits within the battery, increasing the electrical resistance and potentially causing a fluctuation in the state of charge. Okay, now we're back to where I started reading backwards. So let's go back. Nope, it's a new window. Let's close the new window. See what the reporters say on it. This latest recall for this issue, published by NHTSA, includes 19,077 leaves from June 15th, 2021 and May 23rd, 2023. Comes on top of a different recall issued last year, which includes 23,887 leaves from 2019 and 2020 model years. Tell you what, though, these manufacturers are going to start being more careful when they make a low volume EV. Nearly 43,000 2019 to 2022 Leafs are affected by the 2 recalls, which, according to NHTSA filings, Uh, High voltage lithium ion batteries may generate excessive lithium deposits in their cells. So this lithium plating is not unknown in EV batteries or any lithium batteries. It's something that can happen, and mitigating it is expensive, but it is a safety risk. So if you do a poor job, your power tools or your car or your laptop needs to be recalled because, again, lithium is powerful, and uh, if the lithium plating or dendrites uh, pierce the cell membrane between positive and negative, all right. Robert and my wife are sending messages to me. Um, can we see any of them? Ones on Facebook are just like interesting. I don't know why they have been behaving the way they have. Let's go to see if I can't see any of them. I don't even see the window. I guess that's my answer. Hmm, I don't know. All right, so both the 40 and 62 kilowatt hour battery packs have been manufactured in Smyrna, Tennessee, are covered under the recalls. When Nissan announced the first recall in 2024, it said that it was working on a software update that would prevent a fire from occurring. But the company is saying that the same thing now on the second recall. A software update can't stop this from happening if it's a physical flaw in the battery. All it can do is just make the car more conservative and more of a pain in the butt to own and use. If it's because the software was allowing the car to go out of parameter, then yes, a software update could fix it or mitigate it, but it doesn't sound like that's what's happening. Do we think it's killed the slate truck before it started? I don't think so, but I think it will make it $7,500 more expensive than they had planned for it to be, which means that they'll either have to come up with a new starting trim, cut some of their planned profits, or find another way to reach out to those customers because 7.5 stacks is a lot of money, and where they were trying to be is not something that their customers can just shrug off. It's got a it was already not very deeply equipped. There weren't a whole bunch of options on it. So I really don't see how they don't get affected by this. It's unless they had already planned, because we all knew it was going away if there was a politics change. What we didn't expect was that it would be ended early last month. So I don't think we didn't hear about Slate in 24, did we? Like it hit the scene in 25. So in that case, then they would have already planned for this. But if it was in 24, then this has changed things for them. We're gonna have to wait and see, and I hope that they make it to market because that's a good solid concept of a vehicle, and there's a need for that truck. It's been a long time since we've had something like that in the country, uh, domestically. Like I had the Nissan truck, the my '95 Nissan truck with a crank windows, power mirrors, 5 speed. and air conditioning. That was a fun little truck. Mm. And when I was a kid, people could just go up to your pickup truck, reach over the side, put stuff in, take stuff out, load them up, unload them without a stepladder. And that hasn't been the case in many years. And it's people blame it on the EPA. It's not really the EPA's fault. It's still the car manufacturer's fault, taking advantage of loopholes that the EPA has allowed them. So that's how it works. People are gonna take the easy way, and if you give a company a chance to go the easy and cheap way, that's what they're gonna do. According to documents published by NHTSA, owners were initially informed that the fix would be available by November of 24. Well, Nissan, you're over a year late at 11 months. Oh, sorry, at 13 months when you are telling us you have more of them instead of here's the solution to the problem. The deadline was later pushed to spring of 25, and then the third quarter of 25, and the fix is still not available. And now more vehicles have been added to the Roadster. To the Roadster of fire-prone Leafs, which is kind of how that augmented view glasses. They were supposed to be thick glasses. They said, "All right, we're coming out soon. Join up." So I joined up, and then they said, "All right, stuff has happened. We're gonna be ready in the spring." All right, spring came, and they said, in the fall, and then heard nothing from them. And so I said, "You all go work on your stuff. Give me my deposit back, and we'll get back in line when it happens." And then Samsung came out with something this week, last week, whatever, that used the same quality that they were going to use, but it was more like the Apple goggle style, so that wasn't going to do what I wanted. And we'll see if this other thing does the trick or not. It might. At the very least, it will let me better edit the 360 videos I take when we're out traveling. So we'll see. Because the reason you can turn around and move your head and look through the 360 without having to use the stupid computer interface or point your phone around like you have on their phone app. Granted, the Nissan Leaf's previous generation CHAdeMO charging port is somewhat of a relic today, but that's what makes it even worse, is because the Nissan Leaf's CHAdeMO port can only supply them with up to 50 kilowatts, and they usually don't pull that, which means that they they didn't do a good job, obviously. But I'm hoping that that some of it is mitigated by, as Eddie was telling us, the fact that their batteries were not even air cooled; they were just passively radiated or whatever. Now that they have liquid cooling, if any of it was because of heat, they can wick some of that away, and maybe they'll be easier to detect if one is about to go a little wild. But also the fact that if this is because of the LG cells, they're not using the LG cells anymore, so that should help as well. Oh, hello. Hi. Did you use my water? Did you use my water? Blessed chop frog. She likes a song where it starts out the ladies complaining about using water. You gonna sneeze? The ladies complaining about using water, and then she says, "Do you want me to beat you?" And then she calls her a blessed chop frog, and then she says, "You may use my water." I don't really get what's going on in the video. It's what Lil Sims and Uli Booga saying his name way wrong. Sorry, and I get closer when I can see it written out, but it's not in front of me. And you blowing the raspberries? You're blowing the raspberries. Oh my goodness. And so she's in love with that song, and the video makes almost no sense to me. It's like all kinds of stuff happen. Oh yeah? Well, don't put it in your mouth. It's gonna zap you. And if it zaps you, it's gonna zap me. Okay, that's enough of that. It's a 48-volt microphone. I don't want that. You can talk into it, but don't eat it. Really? How was your nap? You had a good nap? Oh, I'm glad to hear you had a good. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, hi. I'm glad to hear you had a good nap. All right, well, don't take it off of us. If you take it off of us, they can't hear us. Because I have it tuned to filter the background noise. Yeah, microphone. Or not in the mouth. Just near your mouth. Yeah, like you're gonna eat it, but you don't actually eat it. Because if it looks like you're gonna eat it, then they get good sound quality. But don't eat it. Okay, so we were talking about Nissan Leaf recalls. They may catch fire because of a part defect in the Tennessee plant cars in the battery. Are you covered in rice? You're covered in rice. Is that what you have for lunch? Did you have rice for lunch? And if you just ate, why are you still trying to eat more? I know she gave you plenty. She gives you kids grown-up portions. Don't hit it. It's a 20-year-old microphone. It could easily go to like 40 and 50. These microphones go a long time if you treat them well. Okay, let's see. There we go. We're lined back up. And we're talking about the long-awaited software fix. When it becomes available. Granted, the previous Nissan Leafs Chatamo charging the. Hold on. There we go. The long-awaited software fix finally becomes available. Nissan will notify owners to go to a dealer and to get the free update. Because this is going to be a bring it into the dealer software update recall. However, I have a feeling we're going to see this is just like every other battery recall from LG, where they say, hey, we're going to have software. We have software. Hey, the software doesn't work. We're going to cap your vehicle's charge. All right, we capped your charge, but we owe you money for the missing charge. So here's a new battery so we don't have to pay you for that. And I'm surprised that whatever division of LG still hasn't gone. I guess they have gone bankrupt, but they cost LG a lot of money. All because they didn't ensure that there was no dirt in the battery when they close it up. Dirt, contaminants, shorts. Thank you for the updates. I'm anxious for the fix. Yeah, I think we all are. All right, so this one might be new as well, or it might be an old one. Anyway, 46,000 Cybertrucks were called for flying trim pieces. Let's see if we get a date on this. This was March, so this one's not new. We keep going. Rivian's mistake just cost it 10,000 cars. What does that mean? And where is this from? Oh, from Hurricane Milton. That was a little while ago. Plus, Fisker's recall scheme was deemed illegal by the feds, and Tesla deploys some mobile chargers ahead of Hurricane Milton. Okay, so just is a stretch because it sounds old, but I'm curious. We had discussed Fisker and the way they were making people pay for recalls and a bunch of other stuff on their way out the door. And I said that can't be right because that's not how recalls work. and apparently the Feds agree, or did agree. We'll see if that was before or after they got ravaged. And the moving mobile superchargers ahead of the hurricanes is always a good thing, and it makes sense. But let's see what they're talking about with Rivian, and then we'll see what they say about Fisker. All right, so critical materials is the name of their program here. The newsletter or the podcast or both. Daily roundup, 30%. Rivian fumbled its supply chain hard. When you thought part shortages were a thing of the past, Rivian's there to remind you a simple fumble can mean all the difference between 57,000 vehicles being built and 47,000 vehicles. Okay, that's what that's about. So that's a logistical error, and that is also a current-ish story. Don't fall. Slashing the target output. I thought that was because of sales or something. I didn't realize it was because they didn't order enough parts. So used to seeing right around the quarterly update reports, so and so has adjusted their car output. It sounds like they're talking about it because of money, but I didn't realize it was because of logistics. So Bloomberg got on the scoop on that. 60% Fisker recall scheme deemed illegal. It can't charge customers for repairs. That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. It's like, you can't. No. Nah. Not at all. And so file this one under, well, duh. It turns out that bankrupt EV startup Fisker can't force its customers to pay. I wonder if they, because of who we've got in politics right now, I wonder if they are going to say, hey, the money that was paid is water under the bridge, but you can't keep charging people. Or if they're going to say, hey, you have to give that money back somehow, even though you're bankrupt, and you can't charge for recalls because you can't charge for recalls. Hello, yes. How can I help you? Did you use my water? Oh, you did? Do you want me to beat you? You may use my water, blessed chop frog. Tickle, 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 tickle. Tickle, 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 tickle. Well, say what you need to say. So back to Fisker. They can't actually force their customers to pay to have their recalled cars fixed. Yeah, you should have built it right the first place. In fact, the U.S. Department of Justice called out Fisker, or called foul on Fisker. Oh, so the Department of Justice. Interesting. The priorities are so wild with that. Yes, baby. What's up? Oh, I got mail. Thank you. Okay. Whoops, I dropped them. So those are the new glasses, goggles things. And anyway, we can't actually make them pay. We're not paying for labor at the Justice Department called foul on Fisker's whole "we're not paying for labor" attitude, and on Monday said that requiring customers to do so would get this be illegal. And that's what I said when we first discovered and discussed that. I was like, you want them to pay for labor? That's not how it works. You have to do the labor. And I said we get back to it, and then we can finally get back to it. That's still makes me mad now that I remember it. Fisker's fickle failure. You keep trying to make tongue twisters. Fisker's fickle failure has been quite the fracas to follow. Yeah, you are having fun with your words, my friend. Just as it started to go belly up, the automaker faced a series of fleet-wide recall. How many F's do you have in this article? Fleet-wide recalls. They would that would seriously reduce the funds if it had reduce the funds it has available for ongoing bankruptcy proceedings. Well, I mean, this kind of stuff comes before the rest of your creditors in a bankruptcy shutdown of an automaker. And then, even after that point, you have to assign this duty to another entity, and then they get to just keep digging in as long as you had bad stuff out there that needs remedy. It sucks, but that's one of our strong consumer protections that we I want to say enjoy, but that we have enjoyed historically. I'll say that because consumer protection doesn't seem to be uh, protection of anybody. I should say doesn't seem to be a high priority compared to other things that could be done right now. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I think consumer medical, all that protection should be paramount because life is precious and sacred and all the stuff they tell us, but then don't show us. Anyway, before I get into politics, I just didn't expect it to be them to actually uphold this. But anyway, so that was something that we've enjoyed historically is good, strong protections of this sort of thing, and it worked again. So anyway, so Fisker tried to say that they only had enough money for the parts and not for to actually put them together, put them in, all that sort of stuff. Are we blowing raspberries again? We're blowing raspberries again. That would seriously reduce the funds, blah, blah. They claimed they were only obligated to make the parts available and that actually fixing the vehicle would be customer paid service, which is, according to the government, no, that's a big fat no. That's not what we meant. So DOJ says that's a big no-no, according to Reuters. The Safety Act is clear that all costs associated with remedying defective and non-compliant vehicles must be covered by the manufacturer, wrote the DOJ in its filing. It later continued, noting that the attempt to limit bankruptcy funds available to address the safety recalls lacks any basis in law. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, is that that these safety recalls actually are a higher tier in your bankruptcy process, and they will survive past bankruptcy. So, Fisker's recall fact page currently reads the following regarding the proposed customer-funded labor costs. According to Mr. Fisker and co., for the two recalls that require physical inspection and repair related to the outer door handles and electric water pumps, Fisker will provide the necessary parts and diagnostic tools at no cost to you. But as of now, the customer will be responsible for the labor costs incurred to complete the repairs. Through the bankruptcy process, Fisker was able to fund the purchase of service parts, while funding labor costs is not currently available. It was a priority to make the service parts available to avoid delaying these two safety recalls. Fisker is diligently working to secure funding for these labor costs and will update you as and when appropriate. Yeah, all right. What's up? Oh, you see yourself in the camera? Tickle. Belly button. So Fisker's labor estimate, which includes the replacement of all 4 outer door handles. So Rich Rebuilds was getting into this with his second and first Fisker, but especially his second Fisker that he got, Fisker Ocean, where the key card didn't work and the car didn't start. All this because the why are you you got a plumber crack going on? Let me fix this diaper for you before you pee on me. Oh, you do got the plumber crack. What did your mommy do to you? Sorry, that might be a wedgie. You might have a wedgie. Yeah, so Rich had to get his car working again. He reused a handle that was under recall, He said that's technically illegal. Probably, but he's not doing hopefully not doing the repair for somebody else. That would be definitely illegal, but doing it for yourself, that brings in a kind of a gray area, because otherwise you have a $70,000 vehicle you can't use. And yes, he only paid like 10 and 4 or something for his second one, and then his first one. But tell any judge and jury in America, I replaced a door handle so I could get my car back on the road so I could get to work. Not entirely accurate in his case, but it is true. I don't see many of them having an issue with that unless he sold it with the faulty repair, or did it for a customer or something. And I take it that the parts they made available for free are clearly not freely available. Otherwise, he would have been able to obtain one that didn't have the water damage issue. His original Fisker, the way he solved it was taping over the door handles and then lacquering them so that the water couldn't get into the handles. Still a bad part, but when the parts aren't actually available to you, it's better than nothing. Anyway, back to what the DOJ slapped Fisker with. We had just finished the quote. Fisker's estimate included replacing all 4 outer door handles, the cabin electric water pump, and the exterior door handle check. Comes out to 3.1 hours of labor, and that could get kind of expensive. I think Tesla's what, $94 an hour, or $124 an hour, depending on the shop. Times 3.5. Labor hours can be a little more localized. So 3.1 hours, sorry, not 3.5. Though the manufacturer estimates often underestimate real world time for repairs. They do, however, in the recall, the manufacturer typically only pays for the amount of hours in the book, which is a lot easier for them to do when they own the shop. I don't know that they can get away with that if they're having other people do the work for you, or if you get to find your own mechanic and get them to charge back Fisker for it. They would be more inclined to charge the actual time spent, or the book value, whichever is greater. The benefit at their shops, or as an independent shop, is if you charge the book value at a minimum, then you can work faster and smarter and get paid extra with the same amount of hours in a day. Mom, what? I'm not Mom. I'm Daddy. Why are you just ripping on my ear? It hurts. What can I give you to play with? Yes, hello. Hi. Hi there, hello. Spirit gonna catch you. Rhythm gonna catch you. Yeah. Huh? You like Sampa. I know you like Sampa. I can't say more because we're on air. And that's quoting lyrics. And quoting lyrics in such a way. It's just as bad as playing the song. What? What? Yeah, I'm Daddy. Hello. Oh, you don't have anything to say? So, you punch me in the ear, child. The Safety Act requires manufacturers, not vehicle owners, to cover all remediation expenses, wrote the DOJ. This is this owner reimbursement scheme compounds Fisker's ongoing violation of the Safety Act. I wonder if they're going to get them per incident, which would be per vehicle under recall. And they can get them definitely for everybody who has paid, not just the ones they attempted to extort. Yeah? Say it. Say what you need to say. Get it out there. Yes. So, a manufacturer's filing of a petition in bankruptcy under Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 or 12 or any other chapters of bankruptcy does not negate the manufacturer's duty to comply. So I said it was not one you can get out of. It's the student loan of building cars. You can't get rid of it. It doesn't go away. Unless you're Trevor Milton. And what about those customers who have already? Yeah, I asked that. What about customers who already paid to get recalls performed? The DOJ says that they never should have paid in the first place. Yeah, and wouldn't object to the customers being reimbursed in some way. But I see they didn't proactively reach out and deal with that. Hello, baby. And that's what I expected from this administration. Oh, money? Oh, you get to keep the money. You can't do more. Anyway. I feel bad for the owners who got swindled in this whole mess. The Ocean was a really well-designed car, at least aesthetically, with a lot of big promises from Henrik and Co. And sadly, Henrik being Henrik Fisker and Co. Sadly, the light for the camera is right in the middle of that sentence. Sadly, the company was marched into the abyss by its alleged mismanagement. You chopped me in the throat with a chop frog. Yeah. Huh? Oh. Huh? Oh. What? What's going on? Say what you need to say. So anyway, the company was marched into the abyss by the alleged mismanagement. It was pretty bad. Last time, what killed Fisker, the original Fisker, was the one that became the Karma Reveo and Karma Company. That one was Hurricane Sandy on top of the same sort of situation where they weren't fully managed, fresh startup car company, blah 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 blah. And then when Hurricane Sandy soaked and burned most of the remaining fleet, well, they couldn't survive that. Yeah. But hey, maybe the third time's. Oh my goodness, is he starting another vehicle company, or is this like a? Like if he does, but maybe third time's the charm. If Henrik is feeling up for another automotive, okay, so maybe he could another automotive challenge, or maybe the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's new investigation will be the final nail in the coffin for future Fisker ventures. You got me again with all those F's in a row. Future Fisker ventures. Let's see, and then it goes on to the Tesla mobile chargers. So I'm curious about the SEC investigation. Fisker under investigation by the feds. October of last year. Okay, so we definitely talked about that one. Yes, baby. So we got another M out there. This one is Hurricane Melissa. All right, another one going straight out to sea after it ravages Cuba. Oh, Jamaica, sorry. No, that's definitely Cuba. I'm looking at it on the map. But Jamaica's in the inset there. Yeah, that's how. Okay, I see. Turret destroyer. Don't break my papers. Well, that's something I would seek medical and veterinary attention for. Definitely, you'd want it to be fed and air, and then, yeah, definitely seek medical professional help on that one. Hello, baby. Listen, jump frog. Yeah. Wait. Okay, so next, let's get back to the articles. Are you calling mommy? Mommy? Say mommy. It's not mommy. Yes. I've got this biscuit. Do you want some biscuit? All right, but the biscuit's on the plate behind you there. Yeah. Here. Oh, good. It's a flaky biscuit, so I don't get to share with her. Nobody wants baby slobber in their biscuit. Yeah. Here you go. Oh, I almost dropped it. Yeah. Okay. She's a carboholic. Over 70,000 BMW EVs were called for sudden power loss risk. This sounds like what just got Tesla just a second ago. This one's from July 1st. Only 4 electric models to fix an issue with their drive motor software. Nope. It's not what got Tesla. Affected vehicles can lose power for up to 20 seconds. That's not good when you're on the highway. But yeah, which sounds very dangerous. Yes. Only 0.1% of vehicles potentially affected reported the problem, which can be fixed via software update. Number of reports, warranty claims low. It's not possible to associate each specific claim. Well, at this point, since it was in July, if you have a BMW, just check your recall notices. You can call up with your VIN, and your dealer can check for you. With no more fuses, how GM's new architecture will transform gas cars too. That was a good one to discuss. Zonal architectures are changing how EVs are made, but GM's approach will change gas cars too, with fewer parts and less complexity. So they can make them even cheaper than they always have. Interesting. Zachary, good to see you. Thank you for continuing the show. I'm going to watch Lewis Hamilton's Formula One, and I will watch you later. All right, good. Thank you, Zachary. I will catch you on the replay and in the comments. Yeah. And then I think what I might start to do, as this one starts to give us both more time, is perhaps, well, for sure, I definitely want to put the chapter markers in so that you can just kind of click around and see what's going on. But I'm wondering if I may start to trim out the most fun discussions and host them as standalone videos or shorts. Yes, baby. What? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Yes. What's up? What's up? You okay? You hurt? Why are you moving like that? You okay? Oh, your foot's stuck in the pants. Your foot's stuck in the pants. Okay, there. Your foot's out of the pants now. Okay. You good? Yeah. You wouldn't even know if you were wearing socks. Are you mad that your bread ran out? Do you want some more bread? Here's some more bread for you. Here. It's nap time, isn't it? You sleepy? Usually she fights me really hard and then goes to sleep. That is a good idea. It's good. You want to dip it in jelly and butter? Try. Oh, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. Fat and sugar. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, I may break up some of the fun ones and put them up depending on what she allows. So the zonal architecture, we saw that Tesla and Rivian are doing it, and Volkswagen is having Rivian do it for them. Resettable fuses, mid-voltage architecture, zonal architecture as far as the communications, rather than just the monolithic CAN bus top down on the one vehicle wiring harness. We'll see what GM is doing with it here. As much of the industry is figuring out now, high-tech, low-cost ways to build cars, GM wants to run a similar playbook with the gas-powered ones. I'm really curious on this one because it is good that you can make cars cheaper and faster and more robust, but what is not so good to me is that it's them trying to put out more gas cars, which is never what we're after. Although it could allow more hybrids, and that's better than more straight gas cars. Yeah, I gave you a wedgie. Your diaper was falling down again. I'm sorry. Uh-oh. We just lost power. The house said flicker flicker, and I heard thunder, and all right, battery 1 is putting out 1 kilowatt to the house. Battery 2 is also putting out 1.19 kilowatts. She must be cooking while this thing is going on. And the air was running, which means I need to turn off. Yes, baby. Yes. Which means yes, baby. Which means I need to turn off the air because the thermostat is battery backed, but the heat pump is not. And so the thermostat is pretty stupid, and it assumes I had power, so the machine must also have power, and it never tries again. And I guess I'll wait until after we get power back because there's no point in telling it to do anything with it now. Okay, so there we go. Battery 2 has stopped providing power to the house. Battery 1 is still providing power to the house though. 900 watts. And now it is recharging from solar. Yes. Here, you want to just lay down? You'll feel better. You're very sleepy. I know you're very sleepy. Yeah. Okay, so now battery 1 is recharging exclusively from solar. It was trying to get solar straight into the wall. So now, again, I feel the air conditioner is functioning, so I need to turn it off and turn it back on. Otherwise, it'll just spin and waste my electricity on the fan, but not actually get hot or cold. And it's 65 degrees out, so it's not as bad as it could be if it was in the middle of summer. Now, the boom I heard was either something massive running into something. Huh? Yeah, I have a box. Was either something massive running into something else or thunder. and only 9% chance of rain right now, so it could be thunder. I'm looking for in the home controller. I'm looking for there it is. The machine thinks that it's cooling, so I want to turn it off. Okay, it's off. And now I want to change it to heat and cool. And now it's going to do a 2-minute timer and then try again. I need to put some smarts on it so that way something I have around here I can make it determine that it doesn't have power and use that as a trigger to just make the machine follow, turn the air off, and then when the power comes back on, go back into auto mode. Oh my goodness, thank you, Zachary. I appreciate that. Zachary gave us $5. Thank you for all that you do. It is a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to zonal architecture. Yes. Oh, I can talk about batteries, but I can't talk about zonal architecture while shaking you to sleep. Shaking, rocking, vibrating. I'm just shaking my leg like this. She's watching us talk, and she finds it very comforting. So the zonal architecture, I think, is going to be a good thing on making EVs cheaper and more available. It does make sense to do it to the gas cars too, but also at the same time, just do what Norway did and stop at the gas cars. And for those who aren't fully versed in it, so like as I was saying earlier, instead of being a CAN bus, it's module to module. You don't need one big wiring harness. You can have wiring per zone, per region of the car. So like this is under the hood. All right, there's my under hood loom. All right, this is in the trunk. Here's the trunk wiring. Here's the between the doors. But you can also send power and data over one connection if you're set up for that. And we're just at the beginning of this zonal architecture paradigm, and there's a lot that can be done with it. And I'm very curious to see where we go with it. But Rivian and Tesla are really good indicators of what's out there and what's possible, especially if you then take things to further conclusions by looking at what you see and saying, what if they went further? GM calls their centralized computer architecture to understand why it matters. Is to understand why your car's electrical system developed in the first place. Well, at first, just to run sparks, and then to run headlights, then an electric starter and charging the battery for the electric starter, and then it just went from there. You had all kinds of monitoring, power windows, convenience features. Mom? Yeah, Mom is much more comfortable to sleep on than me. I know. While we're distracted, I did use the underwear 2.0 on the open grid format to clip a couple of cables and wires on the side of my computer rack over there, and they look nice. And I will continue. And I suggested that I would do. Yes, I suggested that I would do a photo timeline around the house and mount some more stuff. I think I will do that. I'm gonna probably have to make my own picture frame because I was looking at the grids, and at 28 millimeters, they would have to be like. They'd have to be like. They'd have to be like the. They'd have to be like the photos you take in the photo booths, the little fun time photo booths, and I don't want to do that. So I'll probably make a bunch of frames to make them like 2-inch or 3-inch photos, square or probably square, yeah, because it is a square grid, and I don't want to. Well, no, I could do 6 of them and do a normal dimensioned photo. And just print out some photo paper and then use a paper cutter to kind of go in between them there and make this this wiring look pretty. Anyway, back to the zonal architecture. You don't want to talk about the zonal architecture. I know you don't want to talk about the zonal architecture. GM's approach covers cars and EV and gas cars. I don't see why it wouldn't. I really don't see why it wouldn't. And that's actually smart of them not to hold back. But at the same time, when you look at how they work and how they operate, there's a lot of resources going into going back and fixing this mess rather than just going forward and going forward. But one of the benefits to the environment and to the rest of us is it uses less copper, less plastic, less everything, because you don't need miles of wires. You can take your miles wires down to just a few yards, meters. So instead of kilometers of wires, you have meters of wires per vehicle, and that is a pretty decent savings. Although also, the alternator can power. It's going to look a little different than on the EV. It's going to look a little different, but it'll work. And it's smart of them to do that. But again, I'm not for spreading the gas car. I'd say the hybrids could use it, but electric Chevy Corvette, not something that's easy right now, says the GM president. Well, we don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they are hard. She's finally asleep there, huh? Good. Told you she fights me for a minute and then zonk. Oftentimes ask for mom, but not always. Mom sneezed. Tesla says autopilot's getting better, but it's crashing more. Meaning what? This was October 23rd. Tesla's never released a detailed safety report on autopilot or full self-driving, probably because it might paint the automaker turned autonomous vehicle intelligent company in a bad light. Maybe. Complaining in her near sleepiness. The headline sounds pretty good. For a new report, vehicles equipped with autopilot experience one crash for every 6.36 million miles driven. That's still better than a human driver at 2 and change million miles, or 1 and change million miles, or 700,000 miles, depending on whose report we use. And Tesla points to 2023 data from the NHTSA and Federal Highway Safety Administration, FHWA. How's the FHWA? Anyway, the Federal Highway Administration, which states that the national average of miles driven before crashes is around 702,000 miles. There we go. Like I said, depending on whose data you use, we crash a lot. So 6 million miles for just autopilot is not bad. That means that FSD should be better. Big picture numbers have improved considerably since Q3 2018 when it first filed such a report. Back then, drivers who used autopilot had one crash every 3.35 million miles. Okay. And those who didn't, 1.92 million miles. And that's, we suspect, because of the active and safe, safety measures. Because even if you don't buy autopilot or FSD or any of that stuff, the car still got the equipment and it's still active and running and doing its things, but you can't use the convenience features, which is fair. Unless, the whole idea of having hardware that you can't use the software for is unfair to you, then yeah, that part will be unfair. But I look at it as like this: you didn't want or pay for autopilot or FSD, and you still got the red light runners and the brake checkers and a whole bunch of other protections. They just get handled. Like, why did my car stop when I started to manually drive at the green light? Oh, that's why. Because somebody was running the red light. There they go. Whoops, you saved me.
Tesla percent autopilot is a way for drivers to enhance safety and reduce the workload. It totally is. Some people find the concept of supervising the car mentally to be more work. That's just the concept. Like when you actually do it, you're like, man, why didn't I do this before? I'm on a 9-hour trip. And all I got to do is just make sure that that shall breaks my door. Um, if you just got to make sure the car's not going to do anything stupid, um, and then only take over when it does, and yeah, that still does require some work. And I guess what annoys people about that is that they were sold um, autonomy. Like, hey, it's going to do it all by itself. Yeah, that's it's not there yet, and that's annoying. But I would much rather just kind of keep an eye out like a manager. Like, oh, there's some guy who's got himself a new sports car and he's already zipping through a bunch of lanes. Keep an eye on him, see when he gets near us. Oh, he's heading right for us. Let me take over. Versus just like, oh, here we go. We're gonna mind-numbingly hold our pedal just perfectly right for cruise control. We're gonna uh, hold the wheel and stay in between the lanes and this, that, and the other. Uh, I mean, there's nothing stopping us from doing it, but the machine does it. It does it well. And as you get more and more thousands and hundreds of thousands of miles with the program, you get a feel for the way it responds as a baseline and the way that updates can affect it. And you're just always ready to take over in things it can't handle, similar to when you're managing a bunch of younger folks that are new to what it is you do. You remember where you had trouble, and you've seen their peers struggle, and okay, they're picking up the chop saw. Let's see if they put on their safety gear. Or she's making a souffle. All right, we don't have any orders due. Let's see if she knows she shouldn't clap her hands. The souffle might collapse. All right, she learned. Or, oh, hey, we've got this is due tomorrow, and I need to get 20 of them ready to go. They take 4 hours each. Hey, shh, don't make any sudden noises, so you collapse the air bubble, and then we gotta start all over. So it's the same thing like that. You're supervising, a new entity at a thing, and you have the experience, so you just are mindful for what's hard for it, and you take over. Versus having to do it all yourself manually, keep track of everything, and I don't see how in real life this is a cognitive increase in what you have to do. Yes, the first couple of times using it, you got to learn all that stuff. You got to feel for how it feels and reacts and everything. But I'd say within a couple of days, it actually makes your job easier because now you switch from being an active driver to being a manager or DMV instructor or not DMV instructor, was it a driving school instructor, where you're able to and ready to take over at any time, but you no longer have to do any of the basics. You don't have to manage the go pedal, the stop pedal, or if you have one pedal driving, the push down, the coast, and the release. You don't have to keep it perfectly centered in the lane, but you want to look and see that it actually is in the lane. You're teaching a teenager who is really slow to learn and makes new mistakes every time you see them again. You if you look at it like that, and then that's a nerdy smart kid. They do make these mistakes, but they have the basics down. They're not going to run into the car in front of them. They might try to run a red light on turn a left on a red light on a two-way street on red. Um, it's just not. It's just not more work. The people who insist that it is, I think they're doing it wrong, or they haven't actually done it yet, or they've only done it once or twice, and like I said, it's new to them. Hey, Moto, you wearing new pajamas? What do you have there? You have bubbles. I guess she's gonna go blow bubbles. Anyway, all right, you're gonna play outside, have fun outside. Okay, make sure you're doing it with mommy. Yeah, with mommy. If mommy wants to. Anyway, so the I don't see how this is any harder uh, than not having it. The complaint that, oh, well, I'll just drive it myself if I have to watch it. Like, not the. Uh, now on, when I see that, if it's a two-way conversation, I'm going to push back and say, hey, have you driven it? When was the last time you drove it? Why do you phrase it and situate it like this? What part was hard? That sort of thing. Kind of dig in a little bit because I'm tired of the assertion that it doesn't reduce load based on my. With two hands with mommy? Okay, with mommy. Okay. She sleep. My years of experience with the system, and not just this system, but others. I've seen some bad ones, but even the bad ones, as you learn what they can do, you're able to kind of not like check out, but you're able to delegate that portion of what you know it can do to them, and you can now look at other stuff that needs looking at. So I'm curious, and I will push back next time I see that assertion, and I'm curious what the responses will be. It does take the strain of driving, yeah, especially on long journeys. That's the key to putting Tesla safety report numbers into context. Most people will likely choose to use autopilot on highway driving. Yeah, that's true, especially because that's the largest group of people who got it for free. But yeah, that was my first experience with automated cruise control. Was that I no longer had to drive manually with the pedal, balancing the pedal perfectly, or turn the cruise control on or off and up and down on the speed and on and off and up and down. Oh, the person's stopping. Let me disengage it. Oh, okay, they're back. I'm gonna resume it. With the ability for the car to just properly pace. Hey, I need 3 car lengths. I need 8 car lengths. I need 7 car lengths. I'm a tailgater. I need 1 car length constantly. I didn't and don't trust that on any less intelligent car than the ones that have a autopilot basic super cruise Rivian's drive system. Anything that's that level, anything below that, I don't trust with a short following distance, 1-2 cars. And I was always taught 2-second rule, so that's what I'm comfortable with. I can get down to a second and a half if the computer is really good at braking, but the other problem with following too closely is the damage to my vehicle. You get all the little pits in the paint, and you get more chances to get new windshields, even if the car can stop. The other problem I have with if the car can stop, and why I only use that feature at close distance on those types of cars, is because the other problem you have is what if the car in front of you stops short? Is the intelligence in your car smart enough and able to react well enough to either mitigate that crash or to avoid that crash? And that's why I don't. That's why I don't. I just don't do close following distance on a car that I feel is dumb, not smart enough to have enough variables and the ability to keep track of enough objects to give me a fighting chance in that situation. Plus, again, if it's my car or a friend's car, I don't want to get the windshield pitted to smithereens. I don't want to buy a new windshield. If it's a rental car, I'll have protection on it, and then again, I also want to make sure that most rental cars I'm in aren't really all that smart. So, like, it's a Tesla, I might leave it in hurry mode or I might step it back a little bit, assuming that whoever I'm renting it from paid for autopilot. Usually I rent them from Tesla if that's the case, and it's just almost always there. But that's where I am on that, and it does take a load off, just as this author is asserting. You get the other piece of urban road infrastructure and little chance of pedestrians accidentally stumbling onto the road. Yeah, but that's not just like I use FSD, so it's watching for rogue pedestrians and parked cars and imperfections of the road surface. It's not perfect, but if I miss it and the car catches it, great. If I miss it and the car misses it, well, we might get a flat tire, and that's gonna suck. But that means it must have been really well disguised if 8 eyes and another 2 eyes on my meat computer uh, all missed it. Let's see. So those miles driven with autopilot engaged, where it's that much safer than the average for human drivers. I don't follow this narrative because if you do it right, you can tell it I only want um, highway miles, and that's fair enough. If you say highway miles to highway miles, you can nitpick it, but it's not necessary. Not necessarily nitpick it. It's close enough, and it's pretty good. FSD package. If owners don't want to pay 8,000 or 10,000, 12,000, 16,000, whatever it got up to. Yeah. It's also a bit misleading to compare it against the average for all cars. It would be most useful just to compare it with cars on the road that are less than 5 years old. No, not unless all the cars 5 years old or less had the active safety features. Then it would be not fair to compare all cars. But right now it's optional on all those other cars, and technically it's optional on the Tesla. It's just that so many packages already include it that it does, yes, give them an unfair advantage there, but that's not what you're comparing. You're comparing the results. The median vehicle in the U.S. approaches approximately 12.5 years. Yeah, that part. But new cars drive further. Mm-hmm. It's also misleading to compare different mix of driving. That part. Since autopilot miles are mostly on the freeways, a valid comparison would be comparing non-autopilot freeway miles. They do though. That's where the non-controlled crash miles come from, and we see that they are still better than human pilot in other cars. And then we compare autopilot highway miles, and then we compare autopilot all miles. They also don't take into account autopilot isn't used during snowstorms or any cause of another. Yeah, I guess you could say that, but again, those are edge cases. A lot more chances to crash in those edge cases, though. But with the newer versions of the software, it won't even turn on in invalid conditions sometimes. So then you're at human pilot anyway. Unfortunately, NHTSA does not release data at a level that makes it easy to compare. There is that part, and that's also why you always see them with multiple data sources. It's official, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio is coming back. Really? Hopefully as an EV, but because it's not under the inside EVs, but rather just Motor 1, it's probably coming back as a gas car based on that cowling cover there. Motorcycle news, right apart. All right, let's go on to some of these other things I picked out. And the solution to supercharging EV adoption is hiding in plain sight, which is what? Plus, we can discuss what QuantumScape's solid-state batteries and Rivian's latest rounds of layoffs. Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Rivian is laying off, what, 7,000, 10,000 people? You don't like to hear that. Public chargers, level 2 chargers, renters. I think we just discussed something like this on the Tesla Live show. Mm-hmm. Or it was us last week on the Let's Chat. Adequate charging options. Rivian has let go of hundreds of workers and aggressive cost cutting, just as CEO RJ Scaringe says that is taking. Really? RJ Scaringe is taking another top role at the company. Oh, at the company. Okay. So he's putting another hat on. I thought they said that he was going somewhere else. I was like, did they fire him? Is it the bikes? Because I read it wrong. But taking another top role, meaning in the cost savings, he's picked up somebody else's job. 30%. The next phase of EV charging should focus on apartments. Agreed. Um, that's no longer what I thought it was when I clicked on the article. Uh-oh. Make that thing come up again. There we go. Tesla claims the cyber cab is coming in 8 months. No steering wheel. All right, so that one we discussed on the Tesla Live show briefly. Earnings. I'm not going to discuss earnings here today. QuantumScape batteries. No, okay, so that's not related to. It's probably related to why they said supercharging. The apartment charging is not why supercharging is. That was a not really misleading, but confusing headline. Hummer once had audio, tax credits. Chevy, close that. Tesla claims the Cybercab is coming in 8 months. No steering wheel, no pedals. And the reason that came up is the Cybercab has been spotted with pedals and mirrors. And yeah, we did have a discussion on that. But pedals and mirrors, and they say that's just so they can actually get their vehicle dynamics testing done on time. Highlander says he's blocked out of his verified X account. That's not good. We told you about making fun of the X employees. They learned some thin skin stuff, and hopefully they get over themselves and you get back in this week. Gonna expand production. Oh, well, that'll do it. Let's see. It goes past the auto sector. I think we've gone on to something that wasn't the cybercab. This literally happened to me last night. 3 girls take a Waymo at night, then they get kicked out. A woman posted a video claiming that she was kicked out of the self-driving car service Waymo on October 18th. She posted her video and her and her friends dancing. Above the video is a text overlay that reads, "That moment when 3 girls get kicked out of the Waymo." So there's a couple ways that this could happen that I can see before we get into the description or maybe watch the video. Is that if you're not belted, if you've got a band rider in there with you, if you're trying to touch the steering wheel, those will get you kicked out of the Waymo, or if you're just abusing the car, which the AI could think you're doing if you're dancing. It's not a normal behavior for everybody to be drunk dancing or whatever. So let's see. She provided no additional context. Many comments on the video shared their stories, claiming they have undergone similar experiences with Waymo. This literally happened to me last night, wrote one commenter. I got kicked out for hitting my pen, commenter said another user. Hitting my pen. If you're hitting your pen on the seat or on anything inside the vehicle, to the monitoring cameras, it could look like you're trying to deface their cars, vandalize them. That would get you kicked out of the ride. It's not unprecedented. Waymo users are claimed to have been removed from their vehicle One passenger repeatedly had stuck her head and one arm outside the vehicle. That will get you kicked out of the vehicle because they're not going to accept liability for that should something happen while you're not inside the vehicle. It appears that two primary reasons that passengers are removed from a vehicle is because of rider conduct that Waymo determines violates its rules, or because of operational or safety events that force the vehicle to stop. Oh, okay, that'd be another reason. Yeah, if the car is going to stop, they don't want you just sitting in it if it's done with the trip. Okay. And based on the information provided in the video, it's unclear why these specific passengers were told to leave the vehicle. It might be helpful for them to give you the reason, but at the same time, we see that in somebody made this article in content moderation with YouTube, for instance. If they told you instead of giving you a vague reason of why they blocked you, if they gave you the specific reason, it would give you the ability to reverse engineer their blockages. I don't agree, but it makes sense. All right, Tarot Destroyer, that's getting out of hand with that. I'm gonna go ahead and time you out there. Okay. Now, sorry, back to this. The self-driving service has also listed extensive rules, many of which cause riders to face certain consequences. These include not touching the sensors, not sitting in the driver's seat, not smoking or vaping, not consuming drugs or alcohol in the car. Well, there's our answer to one thing. Last week, we were saying what happens if you're drinking in the car. You shouldn't be. But my thought experiment was, what if you do it in a cyber cab? Because the cyber cab is there's no way for you to take over the vehicle. But as we discussed, it could be used against you in that you would be unable to press the emergency stop button. Huh. I think that Highlander says hi, Anders. I'm not sure the last message I see from Highlander if that was in response to the person who sent all those uh, uh, messages that were not on topic. Let's call it that. Or if that was a voice to text that 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 caught some of the words wrong. The not the one saying "Hey Anders," but the previous one from Highlander. But continuing on, sorry. It was it was a little distracting. Let's see. Can a passenger be asked to leave? Yeah, if anyone can remove you from their private vehicle at any time, if it's a company or a person. All right, that's enough of that. How do you keep doing that? Yes, baby. A bee? Did the bee sting you? But it scared you? It didn't scare you. It scared you. Not scare me. Scare me. Yeah, I was about to suggest that, Highlander. Let me do that right now. Let's you are now a moderator on the channel, on the YouTube channel, not just in the X Spaces rooms. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so back to getting kicked out of Waymo. Extensive rules. Can a passenger be asked to leave? Absolutely. Inside EVs reached out to the user and Waymo for further comment. Let's see here. The update. Stay informed every weekday. Were there any comments on this one? I didn't. Okay, view the comments. The TikTok articles don't get as many comments as their regular stuff. Oh, I did it in the middle of the show, so it might not show you the changes in the interface depending on how the phone app is structured. Let me. There we go. They said get a Tesla. Woman says, Florida woman says, then she tries to charge it. So, as I said, I suspect this is a case of lack of due diligence. Let's take a look. Buying a Tesla was supposed to solve Florida drivers' gas station headaches, and it can. She found out herself waiting in line and encountering a whole different level of frustration. If you go to a supercharger that's broken or oversubscribed, you will have lines still. This TikToker vented her anger in a recent TikTok about her struggle to find an open charging stall. Now, I'm used to hearing about these in California. I don't know how common it is. I don't know how common it is, but I don't know how common it would be in California for real, other than when something's happening. Never no charger spots available, and then y'all got to get out of your cars, go walking around when you've been done. She says. We have a fleet of tarot managers. That explains some of this. England seems to be taking great steps forward ahead of the European Union as far as allowing autonomous driving, at least on commercial space. Yeah, I think they are, and I think that's partly because of the way that they the way that they are not full members of the EU anymore. So that's one good thing that came out of it. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Anyway, so she says there's never no chargers. So this is a combination of problems. Like I said, people not doing any due diligence before buying an expensive product, as well as Sounds like she doesn't have home charging, either waiting on a charger to get installed or she's part of a renting situation and thought it would be as simple as her weekly trips to the gas station. It never will be, unless your weekly gas station trip is to Costco or Sam's Club or um, and BJ's, where you're already going to wait in line for 40 minutes to get gas. So I'm not saying that those places are always like that, but whenever I go, their lines are ridiculous. Woman orders a self-driving Waymo in Los Angeles. Viewers believe it breaks the law. Oh yeah, that's one that's in our list. I'm curious now. I'm just gonna go scroll to the comments, and I bet you these people just eviscerate her. All right, there's the video. So she's in line at a shopping mall. This one looks familiar, and if it's the one I think it is, there were a lot of stations there, a lot of chargers, but I could see how it could fill up because it was a mall. Let's go to comments. The video shows someone leaving. She barely had time to film it before a stall was available. Locally, I have neighbors that went electric and charged at home to stop wasting time at the gas station. I wonder what percentage of these people stuck in line could charge at home. Are they part of the 80% and just don't want to wait, or are traveling? Are they part of the 20% that can't? And that is a realistic thing that happens. Is you've got the folks that don't have home charging, and you've got the Uber drivers, and you've got the people who are actually on a trip, and is a reasonable amount of traffic at these stations, or they wouldn't have so many, and they wouldn't be everywhere. Not just confidence. Hey, you're buy our car because you're not gonna get stuck. And if you are in, like, say Atlanta, and you are trying to charge when all the Uber drivers are between rushes, you're going to have a situation where you're going to get caught up in the Uber drivers. Or if you're at the time near a bunch of large apartment complexes, when people get out of work, you might have a little bit of a crush. What's this thing? It's got a little number 1 on it. Oh, cool. So Q&A, let's say, do you have access to charging at home? To a plug near where you park. I guess I should have made that a poll. Yeah, I should have made that a poll. But I didn't. All right, so Highlander says the Myers gas station on Alexis Road, just off I-75, is doing more traffic than in the past, but it's still never full just across the street from the General Motors. But they've only got 2. Huh. You're right. Costco, where I live, won't charge me $65. So, are you kidding me? At $65, I could send you, but they are very, very busy. I'm not going back. Yeah, the bulk buying or memberships, because some of them have good membership programs for other stuff. They have their uses, but lately they've been having customer service issues on all of them, all 3 of those, and then, like, you got Shoppers Warehouse and a couple others. But I don't know if this is just the employees or coming off the pandemic, or like, I just read an article at Costco trying to get everybody to move to the executive memberships that people were starting their interaction with. I'm sorry. Like, all right, well, That sounds like it was like a forced discussion topic, not just a like a conversion reward or whatever. And it's kind of interesting. I don't mind interrupting, but I saw my problem. I am a factory electrician, and I'm not all that in a bag of chips, or a bag of rice. Sorry, but I'm literally gonna run 220 outlets, and I can get away with it. Yeah, I mean, if you can put it in there, that works for me. If you haven't yet committed to a place and you want an electric vehicle, you want to make sure that, hey, at least get a 110, 120 outlet near where you're going to be parking the car. And then if it's between somebody who won't do it and somebody who will do it, or somebody who's got charging stations next to the rental office or charging stations at the edge of each building, I think that can make a difference. That's why when I rent this place out, I don't disable the charger. I leave it fully available for anyone to take advantage of. Hopefully, somebody with an EV, and then they'll just stay here rather than going anywhere else, because their other options won't be as accommodating. Let's see, and then you've got a spammer after this other person talking about actually on topic. Folks who live in apartments who and condos can't typically charge home. That's true. Although condos, it's usually just really expensive to get it done, and once you get it done, you're good, unless you don't have assigned parking at your condo. Etiquette around charging also needs to improve in the U.S. Based on things like people like phone usage in public. The U.S. will probably wait until it's a huge problem. Yeah, I've noticed that that here you'll have people who just leave their car on charge, and that's why we ended up with idle fees on Tesla and then others, just to encourage people to do the right thing by making it financially a little bit painful. Because you'd have people like go to a free charger and then just, I'll move the car when I need to move. Not, oh, hey, I'm done and there's people waiting. Let me move the car. Yeah. All right. Lightness, not power, make Audi's sports car special. I mean, again, it looks like they're going to be in that Miata class. It looks like the Audi TT, but electric. Journalist drives the Audi Concept C, which is more of a close to production prototype than a design study. Sure. The prototype has almost fully functional interior and enough power to launch spiritedly. Audi will launch a production model based on this concept in 2027 as a pure EV with no combustion option. Oh, good. Good to hear. Hey, Lee, good to see you. Hey. Yes. Happy Sunday. Just over a month after unveiling the design study, Audi invited members of the press to drive the vehicle. I mean, I will say that, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It looks like the Audi TT there, and the way they described it in the headline sounded like they were describing a Miata class vehicle. Like, it's fun to drive, spirited. It's not fast. Thomas noted that the car drives in the video is the different one from the one he previously walked around in the studio. I mean, if that was a prototype and this is a prototype, that's definitely going to happen. Unless they're like working their way to production. If they're just doing like, hey, here's a concept. Here's another concept that looks like the first one. Because if you guys remember, I complained about how it took 25 plus years for us to get the Volkswagen ID Buzz, and it's nothing like what they kept showing us. We went past the dealership the other day, and it had a whole line of them. Just there was a lot of them, and it was pretty cool to see. Except that the vehicle isn't. I'm still upset that the vehicle. Think about how disappointed you were that the Cybertruck wasn't what they told us. And then again, multiply it by 25 years for the ID Buzz. And unlike the Cybertruck, which is kind of close to what they described, but missing some of the cool stuff. The ID Buzz is missing all the cool stuff and is not at all what they described, other than the paint job. The underground parking at the Toledo Public Library's main branch has 4 walls of free electric charging, and one person is misusing it and abusing it. We all know this person is, and we are we'll politely ask this person to stop abusing the system. It's free and it's not gonna it's not in the network, so it's hard to find out. But you're gonna research it and you'll find out. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you'll see with this is, as you get people who abuse the free charging, um, the systems can usually accommodate 1 or 2 people doing it. But when it becomes systemic, one of 2 things happen. Uh, well, 3 things really. Uh, Either the maintenance starts to fall behind, or the system goes away. They just shut it down because it costs more than they anticipated. Or in response, they had the funds, they had the budget, but that one person took it all, and so then they leave it up, but they make it a paid charging system, and then depending on how quickly they caught on to the abuse, they'll either it'll just be a nominal fee to the point where it's the same or slightly more expensive than charging at home, just to encourage that person to go home. Or if they drain the funds so bad before it was caught, you'll see them charge these ridiculous rates, and then at that point it becomes, oh, do they shut it down or not? Because when they don't get any money because nobody's using it because the price is wrong, then it's easier to turn it off entirely and remove it. So that's why I like the ones that's just like, hey, in our area it's 13 cents to drive it home. We're going to charge you 13 cents. So if you have reason to use it, you will. And then even more is if they have the idle fee. You have the 13 cents, and then they'll get into your pocket for $1 a minute, like the superchargers. I think that's the best way for them to deal with it, other than having a security guard go up and talk to somebody, or having the fellow chargers deal with it. It's of the ways we've seen them react. I think that's the way that we could all hope that they react if they're going to change the program. Is to just make it so that that person is encouraged to go home. Don't have to send them home. But if they're not saving any money, or if they are idling and have to pay, both of those things become self-solving problems. But if they're really there, as regular patrons, like, hey, I'm here reading books and doing research, and I needed this to get back home, and they'll deal with it, and then they'll either end their session when the car is ready, or they'll reallocate their times so that way they're not spending more than they would spend at home. This is my opinion on it, and a little bit of what I've seen in public. Thomas says the car feels great to drive. So not only does it look good, at least you're like I said, I don't get too much into most companies' future cars because of the way they do it. But if you show me a concept from Honda or a concept from Tesla and 1 or 2 others, I'll get excited because it's probably coming. If you show me a concept from GM, like, hey, that looks pretty. Show me a concept from Stellantis. No, it's not coming. GM, the last time I gave them the benefit of a doubt on a concept was the Cadillac Converge with a J. It became the Cadillac ELR, which was really a worse Volt. It was when it first came out. It had an ad campaign for a moment against the Model S 85, and I already described my Volt when it was in gas mode as a fat Prius. This was a Volt coupe with a trunk, whereas the regular Volt was a 4-door hatchback. The Converge was a 2-door that looked like a hatchback and had a real trunk. There's a reason they sold it for 2 model years and sold 50 of them. I was so kind of disgusted with it after seeing the concept. The concept was so exciting. It's like, hey, I have a Volt, and this is going to be a Cadillac of my Volt. 2 doors, fine. I was single back then. 2 doors is fine. It looked like it had a hatchback. That's cool. It had those cool wheels. They talk about more battery, more power, this, that, and the other. All right, I'm digging it. And then it comes out, and it's like, nah, this is worse. So, I mean, it did have the Cadillac dashboard and compute that they had at the time on the rest of the Cadillacs, but that probably would have annoyed me even more than the wall of touch sensitive buttons that the Volt had. Volt Gen 1. And this was when I had the 12 volt, the 2012 silver Volt versus the 13 volt, 2013 Volt with what's up? You saw her fall at the mailbox. She's gonna fall all the time on those. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, almost done. Goshen's colossal battery factory in Michigan is dead. Glad you're on, Highlighter. You can tell us a little bit about this. We were talking batteries last week, and I wonder if this is related to the one that we were talking about. And nobody likes to see a battery factory not happen. The state of Michigan has canceled a giant factory that would have brought cutting edge battery technologies to America. Chinese battery giant Goshen High Tech was wanted to bring a local manufacturing of lithium ion for batteries to Michigan. And the state's Economic Development Corporation initially backed the plant, but has since rescinded its support. Goshen planned to train American workers to make cutting edge batteries and promised 2350 high paying jobs. So the way that's phrased sounds like it was going to be like the Hyundai plant where somebody else builds it and gets it ready, and then they train the workers, the actual workers, to do the work that needs working. Hey, Star Soup is here. Let's go ahead and bring you up. And more than 100 million subsidies to the battery company, of which had already been dispersed over $23 million to help the company acquire land near Big Rapids. But the state's economic development division is now asking for that money back. I was about to say, if you just gave them the money, then what the heck? But they're getting it back. Or trying to get it back anyway. That's not as bad. And has canceled the remaining subsidies promised to the company. I wonder what happened. All right, let's see what Highlander said. I saw the thing flash. As an independent contractor, I've worked for Honda of Ohio twice now, and they work on a long-term plan. They say they have some kind of electric vehicle program. They hear it, they have it. Yeah, we saw that they have the Prologue, which is pretty cool. But what I like about Honda what Honda concepts, what they are is basically it's a prototype car. And they put either remove the mirrors or put some flashy mirrors on it. They put some giant wheels that you'll never see. They may give it a flashy paint color that they won't ever do, but usually it's just the same paint, but with extra layers of clear coat and maybe some pizzazz in the paint, like some sparkles or something. And then, lo and behold, you turn around and boom, there's the exact car you saw from them. Highlander, welcome to Safety Features. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the membership. Highlander's become a member. Welcome aboard. All right, I will add you to the video roll. It won't be on there like as we sign out tonight, but I will try to get it up there for in time for the next show. Thank you very much. Let's see. So yeah, I was saying it sounds like the Korean factory problem that they had in Georgia. Specializes in lithium iron phosphates. Yeah, we need more lithium LFP batteries in the States. And traditional NMC, nickel manganese cobalt, or NMCA nickel manganese cobalt and aluminum, but they didn't say that they were doing those there. The company also started pilot production of its gemstone solid-state batteries. Toyota is still trying to bring solid-state batteries to America or to the world. I just signed up for your channel. The cost is like $3. I don't encourage everybody to do it. I will. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, I encourage everybody to do it. And speech to text, yes. Speech to text likes to spell my name funny for you. Yeah, thank you very much. And let's see. Even before this alleged default, so who defaulted? Charter Township of Michigan, the company violated its grant agreement. Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense. If you have a program and they don't fulfill the program, or if they worse trip something that says that they have to close the program, then I get it, and it makes sense that you would then make them go away. I do hope that they continue to bring the battery factory to Michigan, though, because we do need more LFPs in this country, and right now we've got the plant that Tesla bought from CATL. They trained everybody up before the inauguration and got them back to China, and so now Tesla owns everything that was in that building. They have trained, well, at least they did have trained staff. I think they still do, because it looks like the output of that plant is scheduled to go into the Powerwall program. Yes, Powerwalls too, but it's expected to go into the Tesla Energy program. So making the mega packs, making the Powerwalls, and the problem is Tesla can't get enough batteries for what they want to do in this country. So if you give them a whole battery factory, then they're just going to use it on all their own stuff, and so we still need more LFPs for everybody else, and so it would be good to see this program actually take off and make it. But obviously, it just had a major setback with their partner getting pulled out. Sad to see. I saw the 2027 Bolt in person. It looks like fantastic and still small. I was surprised how small the Bolt is in person versus when I saw it in pictures. Eddie has a Bolt, and he likes it. It's appropriately sized, but for me, it looked bigger. And then when I got to it, it felt more like a bigger Honda Fit. And there's nothing wrong with the Honda Fit. I loved that car. I loved selling it. But just in my head, I'd pictured something slightly smaller than the Model Y, and that wasn't what I encountered, and it was a surprise to me. But after that, every time I see one of them, I say, "Hey, it's a Bolt! I love it. There's another Bolt. Look at that!" And then every now and then you'll see a Bolt EUV. It's like, "Hey, look, it's the big Bolt." Yeah, so it's good to see the Bolt is back. Hopefully, their limited time experience, whatever, gets what they want, and they don't make it go away again. But we'll see. Just an excuse to talk about the Bolt and look at the pictures. Moving on, we've got the EV brand with the slowest battery degradation isn't a Tesla. Like I said, I mean, it could have been, but that wasn't something I'd really actually considered. A new study crowned the Kia EV6 as the king of battery health. That's pretty cool. The next question then is, why is it not all of its sisters? Why is it not the EV6, the Ioniq 5, and the GV, whatever, the Genesis? But congrats to Kia on that. The study found that that hard use is tougher on the battery than calendar age and miles. Yeah, absolutely. So the cycles do matter, but it's almost like after the initial break-in period, that the most of your degradation is just going to come from if you abuse the battery and then the calendar, not actually using it. But if you use it hard, it's going to pick a different track to settle into. That's for sure. And then, of course, as they age, they're consumables. They just don't do what they used to do as they get older. Look at our human bodies. The same thing. They just don't do what they used to do. It feels like just yesterday you could hop on Reddit and Facebook and see electric vehicle naysayers spreading longevity panic. It was just yesterday. They still are doing it. So let's see. Brands with the highest state of charge or state of health, models with the highest SOH, and PHEVs with the highest. Kia EV6, Kia Sportage. Oh, okay. It's kind of like a mixture. So it's 3 top 10 lists next to each other. Let's read it that way. So the brands with the highest are Kia, Audi, Opel, then Tesla, Mercedes, Peugeot, Volvo, BMW, Volkswagen, and Skoda. All right. Models with the highest SOH are the EV6, the e-Niro. That's right, they do use the same technology. Then the Tesla Model Y, which is amazing because when you look at the Model Y compared to the Model 3, there are just so many more of them. And yet it's the newer one, but when you look at how much they share with each other, to not even see the Model 3 on the list is amazing. That's wow. That means these other ones are doing very well at this as well. The Opel Mach-E, the Mazda MX-30, we talked about that one being as rare as hen's teeth. The Audi Q4 e-tron, congratulations. The Fiat 500e, the battery may be good, but good luck on the rest of the car. Hope you got your extended warranty. Volvo XC40 Recharge, the Citroen EC4, and the Volkswagen ID4. It took them a while to get to market, but it sounds like they did a decent job at engineering it. After work, I'm going to visit all the local EV stations and send it to you. Thank you. Way off topic. Just rented a bouncy house, like the kids for the Michigan event. Oh, nice! This June. Couldn't be happier.
Seatbelt.
Hello.
Love it.
Hey, Star.
Hey, Casey.
How's it going?
I had a question.
Yes.
Doing okay. You're big into batteries and chemistries and exciting. About LFPs, lactose, lithium.
Yes.
What the iron phosphate?
The iron phosphate. Yes.
I'm looking for the standard form factor 700 volt amp little battery bricks you put in UPSs and stuff.
Ah, perfect.
Has anybody come out with a LFP that's good and exciting, or is something better out there?
Yeah, let me go to...
Or just build my own with 18650s.
Let me go to Amazon real quick and get you guys the one that I use in my UPSs. I'm glad you asked.
Sure.
Incidentally,
do you own... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just typing this thing in.
Do you own CyberPowers, and have you had any issues with them? They're one of the
they're
leading,
very leading
competitors to APC.
Yeah, APC is all I've ever used, but CyberPower is the ones I've looked at. There was one that was lithium native that could handle my server that I was looking at next. Just because I was using my Zendur for a while, but then that thing blew up last Monday, so I don't use that anymore. But
well, the reason I asked about LFP specifically is because my understanding is that behaviorally they look like a regular lead battery,
right? And that's why I like
as far as anything is concerned with charging. And
that's what I like about this one I'm about to put in the chat. Its BMS is tuned to be charged with 12 volt lead chargers. It doesn't ever get to 100% when you do that, but it gives me enough runtime that was still more than what came with the UPS in the lead battery. All right, so here's the one that I used, and let me get a link.
What kind of percentage more do you figure?
So I had one I put in one of the little small guys. I had one I put in the tall boy, and both of them it outperformed So the one I used was a 12 volt, 10 amp hour. Purchased 2 times. Last purchase in September of 22. And they are both still kicking. So let me do this. I'm going to share a link on this one.
You figure you got 50% more out of it, 200%?
It lasted longer. Like it depends on what I was doing. Like if I was running, not the current server, but I was running the old servers off of it, it would, if they weren't in the middle of a maintenance cycle, they would go for a good couple minutes on it, like 30, 40. And if they were doing maintenance, I'd get like 15 out of them, but they'd be able to pause what they were doing and shut down. And then the ones from my
Nice.
like my CPAP and my regular computers, they would go for about an hour and a half versus again like 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna put this in the chat right here.
Yeah.
And it is a affiliate link on Amazon. So I do get a commission from Jeff, but if you don't use that, then Jeff gets all the money. So it doesn't add anything to your charge. But these are the ones I was using. I was using the Newmark LifeBow 4s, and in fact, when I told you guys that Moto saved up her allowance money and bought herself her first EV, a little Cinderella princess carriage, it had a 24 volt lead battery that died. And so what I did was I took my 2 Newmarks and I put them in series, so they were 24 volts. And we're about to put that car back together, and I need to make sure that I lock in the slow mode now because it doesn't have the same sort of droop as that lead battery did, and it should get her a couple extra miles and hours in the day, which will be fun for everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want me to look for these links? They're not on your X
yeah, let me get
live
them over,
feed or
let me
the
get them over
space.
to X too. I'm sorry, I just put them in the thing, and I was sitting there. Let me find a window. I've got all these windows, but let me find one that I can type in and put it in there.
We need to get more viewers join the space. Just me and you in here.
Yeah, I think it's because I started late, and then they also they're messing with Highlander. He was messing with them a while ago, and he made the employees feel about themselves. So I think they're retaliating.
I'm glad to see that Highlander's still around here kicking.
Yeah, he's in the YouTube chat right now. So x.com/gcustom, and I'm gonna paste this in the purple bill. So I'm doing my own PPPs. I was making fun earlier. Inside EVs kept putting F's in the Fisker article, so I had to keep saying a bunch of F words right in a row. I was like, are they trying?
I feel so privileged being on X.
Yeah, I love it here. Some people say it's all this stuff, and I'm like, well, maybe it's just who's on your list or what you click on, because if you click on the wrong thing, they will show it to you all day for 3 weeks. And then if they see that you don't like it, then Highlander says hi. Because then when you do that, they will. I mean, it's an algorithm. It wants to serve you what it thinks you're interested in. But the only problem is they have a recency weight, and it's a little heavy. It's like, hey, I clicked on clowns. I'm scared of clowns. As an example, I'm not actually scared of clowns, but your feed will have a lot of clowns in it for 3 weeks. Until they realize, oh, well, he actually likes football and EVs or reading books and steaks, or I don't know, but they figured out eventually. But it's just kind of interesting watching them.
What always got me is a girl asking me to look up a song to play for her, and then I'm just suddenly like inundated with girl music.
Oh no. Man. Yeah, I've had that happen. That's why I don't like the kids to try and play music on my music profile, because it's like, hey, you like kids songs. I really don't. Can we get back to what was already on my list? And so I try to put it on their mom's list. Is that bad? It might be bad, but so Joel's asking.
Now we know why moms are neurotic.
Right?
Just kidding.
Curious about cell chemistry types on the cars that have the best longevity. I think most of these ones on the list are some type of NMC, NMCA, NMC, NMCAS. So aluminum and silicon are the extra SI, I guess. But most of them are just nickel metal, cobalt of some variety. But the Mazda MX-30 might be an LFP by now. The Citroen is probably just an ID4. I can't picture which one it is without looking it up first. The Volvo, I believe, is regular cells. The Fiat is regular. The Audi is regular. The Opel could be LFP because GM wasn't afraid of LFPs. And then the Kia, I believe, are regular NMCs as well. The PHEVs with the highest state of health, I think that's what the SOH is there, state of health, is Kia Sportage, Kia Optima, Volkswagen XC60, so that's a plug-in hybrid, right? Or is that just a regular hybrid? Oh, all of them are plug-in hybrids here, the PHEVs, not just HEVs. The Kia Creed, I've never even heard of that one. Is that interesting? The Volvo V60, the Peugeot 3008, the BMW 530, and the Volkswagen Passat GTE. That's a mouthful. The BMW X1 and the BMW 330e. Excited about meeting the junior moderator? Absolutely. And Lee says, well, what is that battery useful for? So that battery is because they've got a BMS that's rated for being charged with a lead profile. The BMS makes sure that the lead float doesn't overcharge it. It usually doesn't fully charge is the issue that they're concerned with. Usually goes to about 70 to 85%. I'm like, hey, that's where I keep my lithium batteries anyway, so it's perfect. You can put it in your garage door opener. If your garage door opener has battery backup, you can put it in your emergency spotlights at the office. As I said, you can put it in the kids' Power Wheel toys. Those are the biggest ones that use that format of battery. And then some other folks will chain them together and use them as like house batteries for an RV or whatever. There are better ones to use for that, but like maybe if you have a small RV, you have a modest power needs, and your inverter doesn't beat on them too hard. Basically, like a cheaper version of a ABC UPS, CyberPower UPS. You might see someone put it in that, like a pop-up camper or one that just where you need the power, but you don't have the space to put in like a car format battery, just a large group battery that are typically used for that role in an RV. That's right, Highlander. Talking about when he switches apps without having two phones, they mess with him. Being a dad is God's blessing. It sure is. Sure do. Let's see. Next is, let me switch this thing back to where I was looking at it. Okay, good. Being all right, that's our states of health. Ryan Knowlton's device continues to point out that we've all heard before. Don't charge your vehicle past 80% regularly. Something that is applicable more to non-LFP packs. Yeah, depending on who your manufacturer is with LFP, like Tesla, you need to charge it to 100% regularly so that it knows where the top and bottom of the battery are on LFP. It's because it's got a flatter profile than regular lithium, which is already pretty flat. Avoid fast charging when possible. So like, don't be fast charging every day, like for your regular home charge, but once, twice a week, no big deal. Like 20 times on one long trip, absolutely no big deal. And then let's see, fast charging, steer clear of operating in extreme weather, and avoid leaving your car fully charged for long periods of time. So yeah, you don't want to keep the vehicle at -40 for very long, more than 24 hours if you can help it. And If you don't live in the high desert, not high desert, the hot desert, like Death Valley or whatever, try to minimize your time spent there. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Most of what you can do to it might take a couple of weeks off the life of the battery, but for as long as they're designed to last, you'll have got rid of the car by then, even if you're somebody who keeps the car for a very long time. The other thing I wanted to say there is I've actually changed my battery charge to 75% because of an interview we discussed on the Tesla Life show where the interviewee suggested he was a battery researcher. He suggested that that using your vehicle for vehicle to load, as long as you aren't running it at max, at the kind of loads that the grid can put on your battery, you won't see any appreciable loss in lifespan on that. And then he showed us his tests, and that's when I said, okay, well, I can get by with enough range left at 75%. I move my car 75%, and I only ever move it up if it's needed to get between a pair of superchargers I want to get to. And the only reason mine's as low as it is because I've got the performance of a large bus, performance car, but of the car that it is, it's a large bus, so it already didn't have the range, and then we cut another 20 to 40 miles off of the long range version of it right off the top. But it's worked out just because the charging network is so robust, it's everywhere. And so if I had a car with more range, I would probably stick exactly where he said and showed us at 70%, and only do the hires. If I had either an LFP where the BMS needed to see the top of the battery to know where it was, like on the Teslas, the Tesla lithium iron phosphate, or if I was going to actually use that capacity, I would then bump it up over the 70. The other thing, as I said, don't ride it rough and put it away wet. So just like with the lawn equipment, I put it away, take the battery out, and then usually I bring it inside just so it can cool down. I keep an eye on it, and then if we're going to be done with it and it was already low, I'll charge it back up to like a mid range, and then I'll finish charging it before the next time we go to use it, because all of our lawn equipment is either LFP or NMC, and batteries are expensive, so I don't want to abuse them. Same with my cell phones. I have them set to go to saver mode. I have them cap out at 80%, 85%, depending on which model it is. Even my work phone here, I have it set to go to 80%, even though I'm not paying for it, and it'll probably be long gone before anybody notices that it has any real degradation. My laptop, it already came with a little something from Mac OS, and then the Windows one, I turned on the option for the Surface one not to charge up past 80%. But the one on the Mac is like super adaptive, and I didn't like that, so I picked up a little program called Al Dente, and I told it to stay where I put it. And it's got what's called sail mode. So if it goes over that amount charging for any reason, usually will happen when there's an update. It'll go over where I set it to. Sail mode will allow it to come back down gently. And then there's another mode, part of sail mode. It'll let it kind of coast down. If for some reason, like maybe I use too much power than the charger can give, or whatever reason it's draining, it'll just let it drain until it gets to another lower bound. And then when it hits that, it'll gently charge it back up. Because mine is almost always plugged in. They have another mode that you can put it in so it has more for you to travel with and adjust. But like I said, mine almost never goes anywhere. The laptop this one replaced, it had, after 3 years, it had, maybe 4, it had 48 full cycles on it on the laptop, and that's pretty good. Let's see here, we've got my daughter Anastasia Marie was young. I was a young girl. She loved riding around on her electric scooter. I put her cell phone in it, did 21 miles an hour, and pushed it to the max. Yeah. So fast charging. Do you remember studies that show it didn't really hurt your car battery I usually keep my car at 70%, and that's what I'm saying is use your car. The kind of fast charging that we can do is usually closer to like 1C, maybe up to 4C. It's not really that hard on the battery, but you don't want to do it, 4 or 5 times a day, every day as your main charging, unless you're using the car like as an Uber driver or a delivery driver or something like that, where you need those miles back that fast. If you're going to work and back, just plug it in on 240 and it'll be ready when you get home, or when you're ready to leave home, or when you're at work and you're ready to leave work and go back home. That's what I'm talking about there. But you don't want to do like these new Chinese cars. You don't want to do 10C. Hey, we can get this car charged in 6 minutes flat from zero. That will take some life off the battery. Whereas the kind of fast charging you can get at the public chargers with a normal car, I mean, it does affect it, but it doesn't affect it enough to worry about it. Again, as long as you're not skipping all AC charging and doing daily charge on the DC charger as you're only charging unnecessarily. There's nothing wrong with only DC charging a car. Like say you live in an apartment. I did that. When I was at the apartments, you just use it like you would a gas car. Just use it for the week or 2 weeks, and then you plug it in, fill it back up on the fast charger, and then see you again in 2 weeks. But that hit of just like every day, twice a day, 4 times a day at that full 4C or 1C is not the best for it. That's kind of what we're getting at there with the fast charging. That and these Nissans and the others that have been recalled. Earlier in the show, we were talking about the Nissan recall just now about the lithium plating on their batteries, on the second gen Leaf. So on that one, you really don't want to fast charge when you don't need to. But those are edge cases. Those aren't the norm. Yes, I only visit Phoenix, Arizona in the dead of winter. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I guess I should have qualified that. Yeah, visiting like Death Valley, Phoenix, Arizona. When you don't live there, minimize your time cooking the car. But yeah, in the wintertime, you're not gonna be cooking it like you would in the summertime. I think it's slightly on topic. So I rented the bouncy house. Yeah, and that is on topic because you got the EV gathering there. The Muskegon, they said that you need 120 volts, and I'm thinking we don't have it. And then I realized what? Yeah, but you can get 120 from a battery pack with the inverter or booster, and yeah, it should be ready. I'm wondering why they said that. Are they expecting more people to give them 208 or battery packs, or like there's a weird disclaimer for them to put out there. Joel says hi.
About battery pack, your recommendation there, Casey?
Yeah.
I've been eyeballing, and there's so many commercials for them now.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts?
So for the house or for the car?
For a throw it in the trunk, power your whatever, and a camp out situation for a bouncy house.
Yeah. So I had that Zendoer, but I never was recommending it because when I got it, it had firmware issues right out of the gate, and then what I think happened was the boost converter on it died, and that's what I heard. I heard bang, and then the lights in the room went out, and then I looked outside, and my breaker for the room had gone out, not just the little soft catch on what I do recommend. I do have the EcoFlow Delta Pro, the original ones, and I've got a pair of them plugged into the original smart home panel, and they back up all the 120 loads in the house except the girls' room. And I like them. They're solid. They're lithium iron phosphates, and they do quite well. But they've got new models out, way new models than mine. They have the Delta Pro 3 is a direct replacement for what I've got. There was no Delta Pro 2. The Delta 2, Delta 3 all did well. The original Delta is NMC. It's not LFP, so be mindful of that. But then there's a re-release Delta that is LFP, which is confusing. And then they have the Delta Pro Ultra, which is basically 2 Delta Pros in one box. And they just came out with the Delta Pro Ultra X, which is more. just more of everything. And that one can run with one unit, can run most people's whole house with all the heavy loads on. You got your AC, you got your washer and dryer, you got just everything to run on. The demo I watched, the guy was running his well pump while doing all of that. His well is super deep, so the well is like 9 kilowatt well pump. I was like, oh my goodness.
So what would you pay for a Swiss Army knife of battery pack for both, on the go camping
And
and
that's what I was
keep
gonna say
your refrigerator
is what's cool with this one is like
or space heater in the dead of winter for a little bit?
Yes. So that's what's cool about these ones is they can at least the Delta Pro 3, they're about 100 pounds each. So you can struggle them around if you want to. And then they've got the smaller, like the River and the regular new Delta. Like I think it's called just Delta 3. But they can do that portable work. And then when you're at home, you can plug them into the stuff you want to use them for. And then you can inject a little solar if you've got like balcony solar or anything like that. You can utilize them a little bit better. But then when you're on the go,
What do they call?
The Delta, EcoFlow Deltas. And so in the car, like if you have like an overlanding setup, you can have them run on your alternator or portable solar panels. And their support is a little slow, but it's good. Unlike the other company, the one that just blew up, I'm not going to call them because the Zender, they're on their way out as far as I can tell. But EcoFlow, there was a firmware update on my smart home panel that made the batteries stop charging, and they had them back up and running in a couple of hours with the China time difference. So it was like I think it was like late on a Sunday night. It messed me up, and by Monday night I was back up and charging. They'd rolled back my firmware and everything. It was pretty cool. But the cool thing about them is you can like I said, the ones I've got, I can unplug them from the panel and then manhandle them around. They've got 4 outlets on board. They've got DC galore. They still got the AC and solar inputs, and I like them. I like them a lot. And that would
So what should somebody pay for a 70-pound or 100-pound model?
I would go to their eBay store and get a refurbished one. It's been used, but it's been tested out again and recertified, and you'll find that the savings are significant. The other thing I'd look at is if you use Woot.com, is they sometimes will run a bunch of them on Woot. And then as we were talking with Highlander, if you have a Costco membership, they have a traveling program that you can usually find the code for whatever city they're in, and the code just works in your city. But if you just go to their site and your city is not that city without the code, it's still a good price, but it's not the greatest price. And so I got one of them on that program when I was
still kind of. I'm looking for what the market's at. Are we talking $1,200 or $5,000?
It depends on which ones you're into. So like I looked at the ones I've got. They were going for like $1,500. I got ours for under $1,000. And
oh wow,
yeah. And then you've got the tiny ones. I was looking at one of those because I wanted to put it like in a lunchbox, and they were going for like $600. And then Costco with the program had them for like $300 used and refurbished. I was like, all right, yeah, that'll work. And then we decided that we weren't going to need a lunchbox battery, so we didn't get that one. But the same situation I've been looking at the replacement for the Pros with the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra, and now the Ultra X. Ultra X isn't in the program yet, but the Ultras, same deal. It was thousands of dollars saved by going through either their eBay refurbish or the Costco traveling program. And then the traveling program went through my local area once, and I was able to get the code directly rather than having to find somebody who had it and just put it in. And it was so much easier because you scan the QR code and there it was. It go right in your card at the right price. But even without using that code, they still had a decent savings over, over their regular, Amazon or whatever price. And I think one of the extra batteries I got from Amazon from them refurbished because it had the 2-day shipping, and it was the right price, and it was pretty good. So I have both units kitted out with all the batteries, and so we can run for almost a full day if I have them fully charged before the power goes out. And And that's without slowing anything down. The fridge never gets weird. The computers keep going, and then if we wanted to, like say it's a hurricane or something, we can slow it down a little bit. And then one of the units has portable solar panels that we just leave out. That way, I don't have to go set them up if we have a rainstorm or something to get them to recharge. Yeah, and then if we were in a different building, I might look at going with like EG4 and some server rack batteries. But that's more of a do-it-yourself, and you can't really bring them out of the house because each of them weighs like 200 pounds, and then the inverter is bolted to your wall. So I might still also consider like a half and half, like one of those, and then also a partial version of the EcoFlow system.
I haven't looked at this model yet, but the ones I have been seeing have silly, vehicle cigarette lighter charger as their 12-volt charger. Is there a model that you're talking about? Does that go step away and use something like power pole or some standard
So
quality plug?
Most of their lineup, you can use DC barrel input from the 12-volt in the car, but it's limited to I think 8 amps. And then you can do the mini jack, the like you find on a wall wart. You can do them in or out. You can do XT60 or XT90 input from solar. You can do MC4 input for solar for most of them. The bigger ones, obviously, the small one doesn't have space for two big old MC4 barrels. But for those ones, it's usually XT60 to the MC4 cable, and usually it comes with it. But some of them, depending on what price point they're trying to hit, it's an extra accessory. And then for the power,
But they're like 10 or 12, 20 amp.
Yeah,
they're like 10 or 20 amp
easily. And then you've got the input from AC. You can do AC or DC. AC. 120 or 220. The what's it, CE14, the computer plug, the computer and scientific plug that you use for like printers, computers, that squared off one. It'll take that and you can feed it with either 240 or 120. And that one, it can take, depending on what voltage you're feeding it, can take the appropriate number of amps. And then, of course, if you jack it into your home panel, the older ones like mine can take 30 amps each, and they can put out 30 amps. But the newer ones, the newer one goes like I think to 40, and then the newest one does a full 50 amps. Is what the guys were showing on their reviews. I haven't looked at their spec sheet to confirm it yet, but seeing as how they rearranged the ports and knowing what I know of how the company operates, I'd say that they weren't pulling wool right there with the with those YouTube videos and TikToks and whatever.
Well, if you want to drop a link for that too.
Yeah, that's I'll drop an Amazon link on that, and then I'll put in their actual page here. Let's see. I'll put their company store, and then, like I said, I would stick with the used ones just because the savings are just so great on their Amazon, eBay, and even on their own website. The savings are just, I love the idea of what they charge used compared to new. Right, so I need to click on their store because I can't do it from a search. Then, yeah, that's what I want. I talked them up, and Amazon's like, "Hey, do you want to do anything with them?" Of course I do. I wouldn't mention them if they weren't any good. All right, so let's go back and click on their store, and that's kind of creepy. Like they must be watching me, but how? How do they know? I know that they have a connection, but I'm like small potatoes to them. So how do I share this? Copy and make sure that goes straight to EcoFlow. It does. Perfect. I'll put this in YouTube, X, everywhere, and then I'll put it in the X feed. Oh, come on, computer. Computer's messing with me. Come on over here. Oh, now I click away and it's like, did you want to click here? Yeah, I did. Yeah, before I changed browsers. So we go to X, custom. Yep. And this one will send you to the EcoFlow store. And then I will do in the purple pill here. I'll paste this. Purple pill, for those of you on X, is the link board for the room that survives after the room is no longer live. There's wait, no, I said that backwards. There's the down below, and then there's purple pill. Purple pill's up top. So what I do is I put the links. I like to put them in the down below, and then move them to the purple pill, and that way it goes both places.
Now you're thinking the jumbotron
Yeah,
is on
jumbotron.
top and the purple pill's on bottom.
Purple pill's on the bottom. Yeah. So the jumbotron I like to share to the jumbotron from the purple pill. That way, the people who aren't watching it live can still see what we were talking about. Versus a whole bunch of people referring to this thing in the jumbotron, and then like jumbotron gone because it's a recording. They should fix that on X. I mean, like there should be like an option like, hey, do you want to record the jumbotron too? Like, yeah, people talking about it. So I got it in the purple pill, and then cap yours to 75 for the Model 3 performance. Yeah, that's what I have 75 on my Model X performance, just because it was what I needed to get the range I needed. And I'm just looking forward to the first CNEV. However, like all my vehicles, it will be used. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a used vehicle, or in my case, I'm telling you get used batteries, use inverters. And let's see. I love this question because I need a big power solution for the Dodge minivan. Yeah, that's the other cool thing is EcoFlow also offers a dedicated van life RV system. It's called the, I think they call it the Power Packs, but it's basically smaller than their regular systems. It's just the batteries with the smart connections, and they have built-in heaters in case you take them someplace cold. And then you have just one brain unit that controls everything, and you can make it come out DC, come out AC. It's more tailored to a vehicle or like an off-grid cabin than their regular systems, which you want to take with you. So I still like that one as well. Has to be portable enough to carry, so you can take it to a fast food restaurant or whatever, charge up for free. And we know what I'm talking about. Yeah, absolutely. The other cool thing about like the Delta Pros, all versions of them, is they were able to charge off of EV chargers. So if you are traveling and you have them in the trailer and you plug in your tow vehicle, your electric vehicle, right next to it you can plug in your battery pack. And then the other thing was, say it was a low grade hurricane, you don't evacuate for it, and it's taking them a little longer to get stuff restored than you expect. You can take, in my case, I can take one of the batteries over to the nearest charger that still has power, plug it in, and charge it up at the full 3.3 kilowatts instead of waiting on my one solar panel and sharing them back and forth between each other. Or I could put more panels out. I know, but this is an example. Most of my power outages have been long enough that I could drain both of them, and then the solar on one unit is enough to carry everything. How much does it cost? Varies, but depending on what you need. And like I said, if you get it used certified, I like the certified used instead of the new. Maybe I'm just cheap. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with getting it new. I won't stop you from getting it new, but the ones I got used. So I got the brains. I got them new from Costco, and then the batteries. I got all of my batteries used from eBay and from Amazon to go with those brains. And then, like I said, it was because the brains were Costco traveling salesman price matched the used price, is why I went with their new one. And when I say brain, the Delta Pro line, you can have one unit that's got a battery and all the equipment in it, and you can attach extra batteries to it. And in my case, I can attach up to 2 extra batteries per unit. And then on the new one, I think you can go like 8 or 10 batteries. It's phenomenal. You can have a 85 kilowatt hour system easily, and that's a bit much for me.
So I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
These look really nice, and even the Amazon price to me, like I haven't shopped around yet, but they're under 1,000.
Exactly.
With an extra battery, and so when it says goes from 1 kilowatt hour to 2 kilowatt hours with the extra battery, does that mean you're paying for 3 kilowatt hours in total, or is that just 2 ones?
So if it's 1 on board and then you got 1 extra battery, then you'll have 2 total. And then depending on which model it is, some of them will, when you attach an extra battery, it'll open up more capacity for instant power as well. So like if it was a 700 watt system, some of them go to a 1 kilowatt system when they've got the extra cells to balance it across, which is pretty cool.
You just like detach the top half and that's the battery, and then just plop it in?
Yeah, depending on the model, some of them the battery wears like a hat, others it sits beside it like a sidecar. The other thing they offered that I liked, but I'm anti-gas, is they have a gas generator you can plug into some of their systems. What I liked about this gas generator was it's DC, so it charges native and then turns off real quick, rather than just being a little rattle trap. You still got maintenance and oil and all that, but I thought it was pretty cool that it auto started and did it in DC and then turned right back off.
Well, things that do it in DC really excite me.
Yeah,
I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see computers and servers that support DC out of the box without having to spend. I'm not going to swear here.
Yeah.
Because power supplies in DC for PCs are absolutely ridiculous.
They are. They totally are. Yeah. And then what was cool about that is that they don't lock you into theirs either. So like just because there's a DC, they don't say, oh, we don't support using a generator to charge this thing. No, they say, all right, here's an AC generator. It's going to take you an extra 20 minutes and burn that much more gas or diesel or propane or a water wheel, whatever your generator is powered by. Their whole thing is give us power to put in the battery, give us power to distribute, and then we'll be your portable smart home energy distribution. Or they have even a fixed home model. I don't remember what they call it. I want to say Ocean, but because of the Fisker, that feels wrong. But I think it's Ocean, and that one is more like Powerwall and Anchor Solix, and like I say with the EG4, with the rack batteries, where it's completely fixed. But because they don't have to spend any money on the stuff that makes it move, they can pass that savings on to you because it doesn't have a AC outlet, it doesn't have wheels, it doesn't have a handle, that sort of thing.
Cool, man. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Highlander says, I do an awesome job as a host because you're not posting everything I say. It's just a conversation. Yeah, I put most of it up there, but some of it you can tell it's like, yeah, you weren't trying to share that with everybody. The chat comes from X. Turning into Norfolk and have hurricanes. Yeah, they had hurricanes. I'm surprised the range of the hurricanes. I was like, this is ridiculous. You can't escape them anywhere. Then we saw the one that hit. The ones that hit Africa, they really suck. But I find like perverse humor in them. It's like, you tried to give it to us, and now you get it back. They are not equipped to handle hurricanes in Africa because they start there and then they go on. Usually it's a little like seedling storm, and then we had one this year that went like straight to the cold zone, and that one was kind of funny to me because it just went to go fizzle out. unfortunately, the people it hit weren't ready for that either. It's not like you can do much about it, but one I don't know if this
They don't miss the rains down in Africa.
exactly. There was one, I don't know if it was late last year or early this year, that I watched. It was so weird because it went so far that we stopped tracking it because the site I track them on is our government website, and the government's like, yeah, that's not our concern. Goodbye. I was like, oh, whatever happened to this one? And then I was trying to find like historically, and then I lost track of it because I'm not skilled to track them outside of where they have a chance of hitting me and family. Yeah. Let's see. Forgot what she was living in Norfolk. You guys had hurricanes where we live in Dayton. Yeah, tornadoes, and yeah, that's the other part. It's like if you do manage to get away from the hurricanes, you got tornadoes. The sky is going to open up at some point. Thrifty is the Scotsman. There you go. Yeah, Thrifty. I like it. Yeah. I was telling one of my bosses that he was frugal. He said, "No, I'm cheap." And then, but he wasn't always cheap. He was usually more frugal and thrifty than he was cheap. But there were some things where he was like super cheap. I was like, "Oh yeah, you were cheap, sir." And let's see. Oh, thank you. I'm an honorary Scotsman. And you need dependable power supplies. Contact Pete Gruber out of Phoenix. Yeah, Pete knows a little thing too about power as well. Yep. So on average, 90% of the battery capacity to 90,000 miles. That is strong. Mine have always been in the high 80s between my Model S and my Model X, and even the replacement batteries on both. Because what Tesla does is they give you a battery that has the same health or slightly better than the one they replaced when they give you the new one. And you say, well, he's talking about a healthy battery, but he said he had a battery replacement. So what happened there was the equipment supporting the individual cells in both of my cars had some known Tesla flaws where on the older cars, the boards supporting the battery management systems and the battery monitoring systems to make sure that that they're still safe. They were subject to condensation, and the condensation caused them to rust, and then they poof gone. And so then when they can no longer confirm that the battery is safe, they fail safe rather than failing open. And so the car said, "Yeah, I'm not moving another inch because I don't know. I'm not going to zap you." And so they switched me out for one that had the newer revision boards on it. And that's why when you see like Sandy and his competitors tear apart the new Tesla vehicles, when they get to the battery pack, it's just full of goo and foam, and because if it's already full of something, then they can't get water in them to replace the whatever's already there, right? So I think that was a pretty good thought process over there at Tesla, but it does make it a lot harder to reuse the battery for something that's not a full recycle kit when you're done with it, or something that that just uses the battery as is from its existing plugs. That's probably not that big a deal when you consider who can safely deal around inside those packs, because you got a 400 or 800 volt pack depending on which one we're talking about, and you don't want just anybody playing with that. Let's see. Interestingly, his findings, an average of 10% state of health loss is identical to another study by British EV dealer RSEV. Yeah, we talked about their study last month. No, it wasn't. Back in January. Okay, so who did we talk about last month? But either way, they're all saying the same thing: is it's a car. Use it. Don't abuse it. Keep it plugged in. Don't let it charge to 100% if you don't need it, unless it's an LFP, and they'll take care of you. Back in the Navy days, used to run from hurricanes and a submarine on the surface. All that we do as fast as we could. Broke about every rule out there, but we get underway. Yeah. Will Proust. Yeah, I love watching his channel. and that's why I'm perfectly comfortable doing like a EG4 or any of their competitors that are well built, and then supplying them with our own cells, either Chinese or hand gathered, or just one that's not built like garbage. And but like if you ask me to recommend like a turnkey, I'm definitely going to go with the EcoFlow just from my experience with it, and some of their competitors like Anchor. I don't have any problem with Anchor. It's just their offerings don't often match what I want compared to the EcoFlow. It's also of EcoFlow. I've got 2 of their portable um, air conditioners. I've got the original one, which is the EcoFlow Wave, which is just an air conditioner, and I've got the Wave 2, which is a heat pump. And so that one helped out in this room when we lost our AC on the house, and I was able to plug it in. And because it's 120, I was able to run that off the batteries as well. We have a full-on battery for the Wave 1, but I found that we never used it away from a car or the wall or the big battery, so I didn't get the battery for the Wave 2. It probably could have helped because then it doesn't put as much of a load on the sockets. And now they have a Wave 3. I briefly looked at it. I think it's just more specs than the Wave 2. And what else did they offer? They offered a lawnmower for a little bit, and I would have bought it if I had grass at the time that it was out. But I was renting a townhouse back then, and then they have a fridge. I'd be fine with their fridge. They have the that one's not. Is that the Glacier? EcoFlow Glacier. All their stuff is named after water, water or states of water. And so yeah, I believe it's the Glacier. That one is ice maker and fridge freezer. But I already had the Kickstarter from the guys who ended up making the custom fit one for the Model Y and Model 3 sub trunk. And so I think I want to say that's Arctic, but it doesn't feel exactly right. But we went with theirs on the Kickstarter just because they gave me the good feelings, and then we got it, and then all of a sudden EcoFlow came out with theirs, and then they had such a good time with theirs, and they went ahead and made the Tesla trunk version, but it was really just the same one we already had, but fit to the Tesla trunks, which was pretty cool. And I'd love to have it fit in the trunk for me, but they never would have done it for me anyway because I got the Legacy Model X, so I can't expect.
How about a full-size kitchen fridge?
A full-size camper?
Full-size kitchen fridge?
Full-size kitchen fridge. No, they have the portable fridges. So instead of bringing a giant cooler, you don't have to worry about the ice, and because they're heat pumps, they sip on the electricity, and then you can run for hours on them. EcoFlow and this one, they offer solar input. So if you're out at like a family picnic or something, so the very thing that's fighting your drinks is cooling them back down again. So I find that I love that irony in that. It's like, hey, the sun is going to heat up my drinks. The sun's going to cool down my drinks. And the other thing they like about it is because it's not just when you're not messing with ice and melt ice and all that, but you can be sure that your perishables, especially like your meats and stuff, are at the and medicines in your meat are at the appropriate temperature. And that was one thing I like about it. Then the EcoFlow goes on and adds the ice to it, which is pretty cool. You can have your drink with ice in it versus the one I've got where that compartment that makes the ice on the EcoFlow is just battery. On the one I've got, it's battery and a cup holder. Yeah, DIY solar with Browse. Highly recommend it. And the last thing I watched from him, he was testing out Chinese fuses and circuit breakers, and the results were not what I expected. And so some of them were good, some of them were bad. And his ultimate summary was, "Hey, just go with this giant thing here because for $5, are you going to sacrifice your family and your property?" I was like, "You have a point, Will. Only reason not to do those ones is if you, for some reason, just don't have space in your implementation for it. Like if it's, I don't know, you're in the back of a camper or something, and you just can't spare the extra 3 inches squared." Thank you for the heads up, Joel. After this program's out, I will go check out. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Pete is good too. And what type of electric air conditioner would you recommend for van camping? So the Wave 2 was almost big enough for the trailer that we had. I think the Wave 3 with the increased specs all around would have done it for both heat and air conditioning. The Wave 2 would do it for heat, but was just a few cubic feet shy on the on the cooling. And I keep talking, in American units, but these guys are, I think they're built out of Taiwan, or engineered in Taiwan and built in China or something to that effect. Customer support seems to be out of both Taiwan and China. And anyway, they're big in the U.S., they're big in Germany, they're big in Europe. So just because I'm talking in American numbers, feel free to use the metric ones as they are appropriate, because you know how much I like to just use a metric number. But talks like with anyone in America working with wood, and they end up automatically switching back to all these archaic. I was at the peppercorn. I went ahead and cut it to 3 peppercorns. But that's just what I am steeped in. But I do try to remember to use the metric when I can. Joel says, "I really want
Those communist unit."
Well, what I like about them is it's easy to go back and forth in the conversions. I hate having to look up a table or memorize what goes where and how many. That's the only reason I don't care for the Imperial as much. But like you said, I've memorized so many of them that it's natural to me. Joel said, "I really want a Milwaukee lawnmower just because I have tools. They are expensive. Yeah, I love my Milwaukee tools. Sorry, I was reaching. But I ran across this Kickstarter from a company called Ceener, CEENR, and they make a universal pack. So this is in Milwaukee configuration right now. I'm on the wrong release hooks, that's why. That's on. That's a USB A out. That's a USB C in and out, just on the battery pack itself. And then, hey baby, that's for the battery itself. I need the release for the sled. Is it just push? Oh, there it is. The status lights are the release for the sled. So this is the Milwaukee sled. They have a DeWalt sled, and here's the battery pack itself. Now it's not quite up to like the Milwaukee Ultra Fuel level, but most of my tools don't need that ultra high performance. And in fact, other than my drill and my heat gun and a couple other, like my saw, we don't actually need not need the ones we use the most don't actually need that ultra high power in the first place. And so I found for the Dyson V8 and a couple others, there's an adapter similar to this for the Milwaukee. And so I put this one in the adapter, and then I put this into the Dyson, or she takes the actual tool battery, the one, the Milwaukee branded one, and she'll vacuum the house with that. I charge it on solar, charge this on. The thing with this one, do not charge it in the tools charger. Use the USB-C power delivery flap right there, the small flap. Charge it there. I don't know why, but that was the warning they said. And I don't know if it actually will accept a charge from here, but just in case. So you just plug it into the USB-C, and it'll charge fast anyway. And then it'll discharge quite handily on the tools interface. I was buying the most expensive battery operated tools. You can buy the limited product range. So I'm switching over to Milwaukee unless anybody knows better than me and opened to suggestions. Yeah, so I like Milwaukee. DeWalt is good too. Those are the ones that I aim towards. When I was a kid, my dad always got Makita, so I have a soft spot for them. I actually have a pair of Makita screwdriver and impact drill, and then I've got the for the lawn equipment. I've got the Ego. I need to see. I only use so far. I've only used the official Ego packs, but after my experience here with all these aftermarket packs, I need to look and see if anybody's got a well-built aftermarket Ego pack, and I think I might start doing that as well. I need to sell my. I got the before I got the Delta. I got the EcoFlow. Sorry, EcoFlow. Sorry, the Ego portable generator. You stick up to 4 of your Ego packs on it. The problem I had with it was you can't use it in the way that you use the EcoFlow and their competitors, where you're charging it while you use it. So if you plug in the solar, it stops discharging. I'm like, well, the sun is out. I'm out here using a table saw. Why can't I top them up? And they just no, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. What? So what you could do, aside from having 2 of them, you could do the smaller one and try it that way. But no, not for me. And then move them as they fill and drain. Move them around. That's a pain. So I'm just gonna look at getting rid of it. And then I did get that's another good option if you have just something small that you want to power for a little bit. I got the both the old and new version of the Ego little portable inverter for their packs. You slide it onto the battery pack and it'll go. But the new one is sine wave and is just better built than their original one. The original one is just kind of, it works, but I wouldn't recommend the original one to anybody. But the new little one is great. And so I did that one from Amazon. Had a sale on Ego products where if you bought 2 or 3 things or something to that effect, you got a massive discount. So I did the light, the work light, and that version 2, and not a battery bag. I've never really bought the batteries by themselves. Not the snowblower, because I got that from Lowe's. There's something else small I got from them from Amazon to bring. It was like 50-60% off of one thing, and then the rest of them were on a sale. I was like, yeah, this is a good deal, and I did it. Go to Lowe's with a military discount. Flex tools. All right. I also like the Cobalt stuff from Lowe's. I didn't care for the Cobalt mower just because of the way our grass is set up. That it was always hunting for the right speed, whether it should be low mode, high mode, and then it took too long to transition, so it was always in the wrong mode when it did transition correctly. It was in the wrong mode for where I ended up, and so that's how we ended up with Ego in the first place. Was like, man, I'm so frustrated with this thing. Let me find something else, and that was the next thing I could get locally, and I loved it. And they just kept getting better. All right, so Adobe Cloud has crashed. Send report. That's fine. Could not something. The text is so small. Close it. All right, so let's speed through these headlines and then let me see why that child is crying. Yeah, so the EV age, surprising who leads in the charts, and also not so much to worry about once you've had the car for a while. More expensive in SF. Woman gets into a Waymo and sees what it costs compared to regular Uber. So it's definitely one of their TikTok stories. How much more does it cost in San Francisco than where she is used to using them at? Not immediately clear. That's a long story for TikTok. Moving on. San Francisco woman gets into Waymo, then she uses it for DoorDash. There we go. This was my style. First came delivery drivers replaced by apps, then came cars that drove themselves, and now one woman has combined them both by using a Waymo robotaxi to make her DoorDash runs. I mean, that's what's kind of cool about that is you don't even have to worry about like the double parking situation you end up with at some buildings. because it's not your problem that it was double parked. Google can get the ticket, or Alphabet, but still. The new face of the gig economy. We don't learn much about her intentions or the economics of the deal. Oh man, that's what I was hoping to find out, if it was worth doing it this way. Like, do the numbers work? But at the same time, in between stops, she can be doing advertising and. Huh? Oh, you got money? You sold something? Okay, congratulations. Good job. Huh? You got my clothes? Okay. Almost done. So that I was hoping to find out the economics on this a little bit, but if she's able to make money while the car's driving her between customers, then or better her business, then that could still work out. But also, like I said, you don't have to own the car. You don't need car insurance. You don't need car maintenance. So without knowing the actual numbers, this is clever. And let me see if the comments, well, not even the comments, the author did some math. Let's see what the math looks like. A video lands at a moment when autonomous ride hailing is moved from beta curiosity to everyday option. So she's turning Waymo into a rolling DoorDash shuttle, clever hustle or expensive stunt. Independent analysis, another data set. On the revenue side, DoorDash earnings vary widely by city, time, and you gave her a you gave her a plumber situation back here. No, say look. You made her like a plumber. And let's see. So rules and regulations. Oh, that is a point. Policy gray area. DoorDash markets itself as contractors who can use any cars to drive and deliver and earn, but supports bikes, e-bikes, rollerblades. It requires insurance when using a motor vehicle. Well, Alphabet has insurance. Identity checks to prevent account sharing. That's fine. Independent contractor, DoorDash. Waymo's rules focus on safe ridership, not whether you can side hustle from the back. I think she might have just hit. There's no rule says dog can't play basketball. She might be in the clear. If a rider isn't breaking local delivery laws or creating hazards, there's no obvious rule that says singles her out. Okay. Again, though, the numbers matter on this, but she might have hit a life hack. I'm hoping somebody in the comments did the actual math for her area. So there's her talking about doing it. And then James says, most of us want to have a good income, but don't know how to do that on the. James a scammer? James is a scammer. Darn it. I was hoping somebody did the math on it. Yeah, Joel has the Dyson Electric good after too. Want a Milwaukee snowblower too. Maybe then on even the lottery. Yeah, I did the Ego snowblower thrower dual stage because at the time we were in Virginia and it was snowing when we didn't expect it. Good job. 2 times? Okay, we'll get you some stickers after I get done, okay. And so for those we ended up I was like, man, I bet you I'm gonna buy this snowblower and not even use it. But the previous snowfall before I got it, I noticed that we didn't have much area, but you guys remember I was in that truck crash and my back isn't that good for work like that. And I got the sidewalks done. I had to go lay down for a minute. I got the driveway done. I had to go away for a minute, and then I got the exterior sidewalks done. The ones that weren't ours, but we could still be held responsible for. And I got them done, and then had to go lay down for the rest of the night. But then Lowe's thought they were done for the season, and they had 2 more of these units left. Somebody else had the same idea as me. By the time I came back, the first one was gone. And so then it was just mine and the display. They were so thought they were done that they were going to sell the display. So I bought mine and the one in the box. And I'm sure they had a discount for the display, but the display just looked like too many people touched it. And I was like, something's going to happen and it's going to break. And I don't want that. And so I got mine. And I was like, I bet you it never snows again for the rest of the season. And we had 2, 3, maybe 4 snows. I was able to just get that thing out there. And I was like, this is nice. You just turn it on, done. And then we moved back out of Virginia, and we have not needed or seen snow since. So I was like, because it's not gas, the maintenance is really just going to be put the air back in the tires before we want to use it again, and then lube up anything that might have some dust on it. So that's the exciting part. And I just have a feeling that that wherever we end up next, it will be snowy, just because. I don't know why, but this is a strong feeling on my part, and that's kind of like where we're looking at for next stuff. Is it'll snow sometime. But what I thought would have been funny would be like where we are in this house that I rent out sometimes. I was like, man, watch us get there, and like it's snowing, we need this thing. And we did get some flurries. We did some flurries, and but it didn't stick. All right, so let's finish zooming through these articles. That one was one that I wanted to come and see, and then they didn't. So this one I was talking about here, see how the Waymo has all these sensors all over it? It kind of invites anybody who's thinking like, man, I want to get 3 cars ahead to cut it off. And so she said she does. Not just her, they are making drivers worse. Or there's a question mark. Austin-based woman said that she loves seeing Waymo vehicles on the road. Not because she's a fan of the autonomous driving, but because she doesn't necessarily have to adhere to all the rules of the road whenever she sees one at an intersection. I can see right now some entrapment style stuff, like you get a cop just borrowing a Waymo Uber just to write their quota of traffic tickets if they're in a town that has quotas. Can you imagine? They get so many people just because of the attitude that this lady expresses. When she expresses that, hey, I don't have to follow all the rules. This is a honeypot situation right here, you guys. Watch out for Waymos. The other part of it is you don't want to do anything that's too egregious, because the thing is surrounded in cameras and LiDAR, and they can send your plate to the cops directly. And we don't need that either.
But it's basically the sentiment that Waymo is way too hesitant, where Tesla, what's it called? Robotaxi drives more like a Bostonian.
Yeah, it could be the case. Like I noticed yesterday, we were getting some provisions, and we were coming up to our exit, and about 1.8 miles to the turn, traffic started slowing down, so the car slowed down with it. And then at the time where older versions would have just pushed back into the lane, this one left the lane. So I'm tired of waiting on these people. They're going too slow, and sped up. I was like, okay, this is a bold move. And I'm sitting there looking for an opening. I'm like, I don't see any openings. And then turned the signal on, and I thought it was going to just like squeeze in. It didn't even do that. It accelerated to the front of the line and then jumped onto the clover leaf and then gunned it a little bit more. I was like, wow. I wouldn't have done it that way because we're in the South, but I could see, you were trained in California. That is a valid move. It's not one I would have picked, but it's valid. It does the same thing when it does squeeze its way into a line. It'll get into smaller spots than I would ever choose to squeeze into. But these later versions of version 12, they're quite fun, and I'm excited for the version 14 Lite that they talked about on the earnings call to see what this car can do. Yeah. And let's see. I guess we don't really need to discuss much more on that because it's what we want to talk about, right? We don't have to talk about what they're talking about. Sometimes they're just a little conversation starter, a little prompt for us. Close that. And a woman switches to a Tesla that notices something unique about other drivers. I'm curious what that is. If she's in a Cybertruck, I'd say, hey, maybe she's in a hateful town. Oh no, she's right. Drivers around me are much more aggressive. I've noticed that since day one. People like would when they do their merges, they sometimes merge a little closer than I would expect. I'm like, you don't look like you've got the insurance for that in the way that your car is carrying itself. Are you sure you want to do that? New Tesla driver says she didn't notice an uptick in aggressive driving from other commuters since acquiring her EV. I want to know what town you're in. our city. Curious for other Tesla drivers. I've had my Tesla for over a year now. I used to drive a RAV4. Noticed since having my Tesla, other drivers around me are so much more aggressive. Cut me off, slam on their brakes in front of me, ride my butt. Driving on wherever Blanding and Homey is, and cut me off and says, recounting the other ways. Yeah, I haven't noticed it as much as shortly after I got the X, but it's still out there. But it's also much less of an issue for me now that FSD is a thing than when I was driving myself or autopilot lane keeping. The truck crash was very sad. Back to reality. Maybe you can put up a lemonade stand for the girls. When I was 6, it taught me a lot. Yeah, so I'm not saying much about it or can't say much about it, but so we won all the steps, and then we got served. The insurance company is suing us along with the truck driver who's there insured. And I was like, what the heck is this? And my lawyer, he and I will, share some expletives, but he had several during our discussion of this one. And what upsets me about this is I've been waiting for the lawsuit to be finished so I could get my umbrella coverage, because you can't, if you are suing or being sued or anything like that, you can't get umbrella coverage. So these people are, in addition to not paying out what they owe me, they are making my insurance more expensive because I can't get on the appropriate package. I'm going to point that out to the lawyer as well, that they've cost me an insurance because I can't get the right insurance. Because they want to play games. And now they're really playing games. That might get expensive for them. It might. But that's all I'm going to say. Michigan's an awesome place to live. Yeah, it is. It is. Moving on. Sorry, I got into the lawsuit thing, and it's been 8 years. This thing should be done by now. I really want to show you guys the video, but I'm just keeping that close to my vest as well. I'm ready. It's already on the computer. They talked about so also is the brand of the Rivian e-bike. So this is the one I knew of. I didn't realize that they had this multi-passenger bike. That looks cool. If it packed up nicely, I'd think it'd be fun to get the girls on it with me. But it still looks more cargo than but I can see you putting seats in there. And then this one is a more traditional auto cycle delivery vehicle that we see in some of the other cities. I like the way that looks. But this is their podcast, so I will come back to this later in the week. And if anything stands out from it that we should discuss here, we will. All right, so this one, they said that Arya is dead, at least behind a big EV lesson. So Arya is dead in the US, but the question is, did I miss something and did they just cancel it worldwide? It's always a possibility with Nissan. Second ever ground up EV. Look to answer everyone's prayers. Crossover, liquid cooled battery. He didn't say that, but I did. Normal charging port instead of CHAdeMO stuff. It had CCS 1, and then it's supposed to get NACS, but then they just canceled it in the US. And the Nissan Leaf, 3rd gen, second redo, it has NACS, sort of. It has NACS for high speed charging, but not low speed. It was quick enough, looked pretty good. The range was reasonable. Price just right. Yeah, it wasn't a hot seller, but I don't want to say it was a bad car. It was like Highlander says, it was, if you were looking for that package, it was everything you were looking for. It wasn't meant to be a speed demon. It was meant to be competent, and it was competent. But the competition is heating up. I guess that's probably the problem. Automaker would have so much EV experience, could deliver a mega hit. They could have, but they didn't. 2 years after its introduction, seemingly right on time to scoop up loads of buyers, insatiated by Tesla, sorry. I guess instigated as well if you were during the kerfuffle. as I said many times, I couldn't afford to just on the latest fad get rid of my car, especially a car that had such good finances behind it. We discussed this on the Tesla Life show. They're like, "How much would you pay for charging?" And I was like, "I wouldn't." And they're like, "Why?" And I was like, "I just wouldn't." And because I'm spoiled by my little car, it's got the charging for life. And they said, "Oh, that does change things." Exactly. My car has run megawatt hours through it between it and its predecessor, because that one had free charging tied to the vehicle, while this one has charging tied to both the vehicle and me as a pair. Anyway, back to the aria. Press learn twice. Ode to the aria. So far, it seems like I'm not seeing him say that they canceled it worldwide, but he does write for a U.S. audience. I'm skimming, I know. So if I don't see it here, hopefully the comments call it out. My computer's mad at me. Look at it stuttering. All right. Top comments. Title of the story is misleading. Boom. The aria is being discontinued in the U.S. It will be available in other markets. It's a good example of ignorant American-centric attitude. I would say that's a bit harsh. This guy does go out of the country all the time to test cars, but maybe in his busyness or a deadline or something, he was inaccurate with the headline, or maybe somebody else writes his headlines. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure when the Leaf was launching, everybody was being told accurately that it was meant a little break for the aria in the U.S. and not that it was canceled worldwide. And that's why I was like, "What? Things could have changed since the launch of the Leaf again and now." So I was like, maybe, and that was my main concern with this article and the headline. That is mentioned in the article. How can every detail be stuffed in the title? And like I said, I skimmed it, so that's why I was kind of looking forward to the comments, so I didn't have to go back and read it again later to see if he caught it. But when I saw who wrote it, that's why I was like, he's not usually that imprecise. So I'm wondering if somebody else made the headline or if it was just out of characters for the headline to put that in there. What utopia do you live in where you don't even attempt to read the article? Nice, arrogant, ignorant attitude. I mean, I skimmed it, but I knew the comments would answer my question. Is what I was speeding towards there. Highlander says, "Sadly, can't relate. I already told you what happened to me about getting run over by a fork truck." Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show about protecting people and life being precious over the pure money of it all. And so, I mean, I hope that that you can continue to manage with it, and I hope that for us that everything shakes out correctly, and that what they did award us to maintain our injuries for life, that they that we never exceed that, because it got reduced by a lot and make it a lot harder to manage, and that they don't succeed in this stunt of theirs, because if they do, that would leave us with nothing. Anyway, I did get back the well, in paper, I did get back the value lost on the Model X, the Model S when I sold it, only because I had a receipt. I figure that if I had to prove diminished value on that thing, there would have been a fight about the sources used and all this other stuff. But it's been a long 8 years, and now with this new lawsuit, this could get to 9 or 10. I'm hoping that what happens is either the judge says, "Yeah, this is crap," sends it back, or looks at the stuff and how terrible the first one went and said, "Hey, I'm annoyed just looking at this. Here's $5 million. Enjoy. Don't come back." But that is Hallmark story writing or Lifetime movie miracles, and I don't expect anything like that to happen. So just runaway thoughts, that would be fun. Just, hey, you guys suck. This will teach you to not suck. One can hope. But to rely on such hope is not. Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for your time here today. I want to thank again Zachary for your donation. I want to thank Highlander for signing up to be our newest member. I will work to get you into the roll clip. Hopefully it'll be this week and just in time for the next one. I just have to find where I put the files. They moved last time I was looking for them, but I think I came across them while I was fixing the theme for the Tesla Life show. So if it's in that folder where I think it is, should be really quick. And yeah, so again, thank everybody who's helping out with it. Thank everybody for your time today. Thanks for everybody for coming in week after week. And it was a lovely chat today, and good to see you again, Star. And I want to catch you guys all on the flip side. And hope you all have a good week.